Yes, I changed the quote. I remembered to change the quote. Hello, yes. Hey everyone, welcome. I hope you can all hear me and see me okay. It's been a while since I've done a live stream, so I've probably forgotten I can't even use words today. Probably forgotten half the things I need to set up. So welcome one and all to a little extra ad hoc Warhammer stream. I'm obviously going to try and do Warhammer Sunday on Sunday, but I've got something I need to get on with, so I thought I'd do an extra stream today. So welcome one and all, just me, just a stream with me. Welcome one and all. Do let me know if you can see me and hear me okay. I've got one of my beard hairs tickling my right nostril and it's really irritating me. It's like having an itchy nose. It's really annoying. So if I keep going a bit broken sentenced, because I'm trying to sort out this errant beard hair. I need to trim my beard. Yeah, most annoying. Anyway, yes, welcome. It's Warhammer Friday, apparently. Today we're going to be carrying on with something not a bit special, but something I need to get done. So I thought I'll do this extra stream. And I've got a chance to, Mama Fox is downstairs watching telly. So it's one of those rare moments where I can actually get to the bench for maybe a couple of hours. And not have other stuff to do. So I'll do ad hoc streams like this as and when I can. I just can't plan anything in stone at the minute. I can't guarantee I'll be able to sit at the bench at any particular time because I'm looking after Mama Fox. So as and when I can get a chance to do things like this, I'll take that chance. Anyway, before we get going, quick shout outs to everyone who makes all my content possible. First and foremost, of course, my corporate supporters, emodels.co.uk and goblingaming.co.uk. Hang on, Barry's tea. emodels.co.uk and goblingaming.co.uk. Your one-stop shop for both model making and tabletop gaming, both those stores. Links in the description below. They make my content possible. They support this channel. So do check out the links below. Do use the links in the description there if you want to go there. Emodels for your model stuff and Goblin for your tabletop stuff. Use those links. It tells them I sent you and I get some income from that. So go and use those affiliate links. And of course, my patrons and channel members who also make my content possible. They literally pay my wages. My patrons at patreon.com/ my words. It's actually, given the fact it's October and it's quite cold, today decided to be really, really hot. So it's 1,000 degrees in here. It's warm outside. I'm sweating cobs. Anyway, start that again. My patrons over at patreon.com/modelmakingguru and my channel members who became channel members just by pressing the join button underneath any of my videos. Those guys and girls support me directly each month, so I can't thank them anywhere near enough. Without them, I wouldn't be able to do this. They make it possible for me to stay at home and look after Mama Fox as a job. I mean, as a job, so I can do that and look after Mama Fox. So without them, I'd be working away somewhere, so that's not good. So thank you massively to them. They make all that possible. They also make it possible for me to do this for my job. So big thank you to my patrons and channel members. I've forgotten how I do these introductions now. I think that's it. Guthorm says hi. Let's take that off. I am sweating massively. I need to... Oh, hang on. I get some tissue. It's really... I don't know if it's just... It's not nerves, because I don't get nervous doing live streams, but it's just really warm and having all the lights on. Today just decided to be like really sweaty warm. Whew. So yes, welcome one and all. We're going to be building something a bit different today. Not different, but I've done it before. We are, of course, you probably know because you've read the posts, I'm building another Baneblade. Yes, I've built a Baneblade already. I've not painted it yet. I do have the thing primed. You can't really see on this camera because it doesn't really show the black very well. But if you remember last year, I built a Baneblade and did it as a Death Korps Baneblade with lots of added greebles and bits and bobs. It's got some Death Korps dudes in the turret. I'm going to build another one because the plan is, right now, because I'm obviously not making a lot of video content, because again I can't guarantee when I can get to the bench. I need to get income coming in somehow. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get this Baneblade built, get both of them painted up and then get them on eBay and get them sold. As hopefully a quick way to get some money coming in for me. So I'm going to get this one built up in the coming days. And I thought I may as well. I'm not going to be filming the painting of these. It's literally a case of get them built, get them painted and get them out the door and on eBay as quick as possible because I've got bills to pay. So I'll be doing that. I'm not going to film it, but I will live stream the building part because I'll be building it on Warhammer Sundays and I need to get started on it, so I thought I might as well do a stream today. So we'll crack on. In the future, of course, I do intend to do a video series on building and painting and Baneblades. So that will obviously, I'm going to build more than 2 of them. So, but we're going to do this as a Death Korps Baneblade because the other one's a Death Korps. I'm going to sell them. I might sell them as a pair. I don't think I'll sell them. I might sell them individually, but I might sell them as a pair. So I'll do them both Death Korps. But the other one I built was a standard Baneblade. This is going to be built as a Bane sword, purely because Bane sword is a siege tank. It's got a big quake cannon on the front, and it's designed for destroying fortifications and things like that. It's got fixed travel cannon. It doesn't rotate, it just goes up and down. So I thought it'd be good if I'm selling as a pair to have a Bane blade to take out vehicles and titans and things like that, and also a Bane sword that they can use, because you know Krieg, they're masters of siege warfare, trench warfare and siege warfare and all that goodness. That's what they do. So we're going to build this one as a Bane sword, I think. Yes. Right, if you will just give me one moment, I just quickly need to check something. I shall be back in 1 moment. Hold fire. Sorry about that, folks. I've got some packages turning up today, and I thought that was the front door. So I may have to pop in and out occasionally because the doorbell goes. We've got Amazon deliveries and stuff. So yes, I'm going to be building the Bane sword. It's not going to have as many greebles and bits and bobs as the other one because I haven't got the extra sprue, the extra greeble sprue. Although I have got them stored away somewhere, so I might dig them out and just see what extras I can add on there. But the goal here is to really get this built and both of them painted and turned around as quickly as I can, because like I said, I need to get them on eBay and start selling stuff. Now that things have calmed down a bit with Chocolate Velociraptor and things like that, we've all had our shots and things, it means I can start thinking about, getting, because I couldn't take things to the post office to sell them, so that's why I haven't done any sales for that, a good year and a half. So we're going to do that. But anyway, before we do that, let's have a swig of Barry's tea. If you haven't been watching me content lately or any of my streams I've been in, I've kind of slipped off the coffee thing and I've started drinking tea again. I come and go with tea. In my defence, it's not Yorkshire tea crap, it's Barry's tea, which is of course delightful. So that's my mitigating circumstance. Now of course, because this is one of my streams, the most important thing to consider on the stream is the most important question, which is of course bench and belly. What's on your bench? What are you working on right now at this exact moment? And what's in your belly? What have you had for your dinner, or what are you going to have for your dinner? All the details, please. Now, I do apologise if I'm talking top speed or if I'm kind of talking absolute garbage. I've not done a live stream by myself for a while. I'm a bit out of practice. I don't think I have. When did I last do a live stream? I can't remember now. It could have been last week and I've just forgotten. Everything's a blur at the minute. So I shall do my best not to be too much of a wittering loon, but it's kind of what I do. Anyway, let's have a quick look at chat and see who's in. We have big, massive hugs to the first person in chat I see, of course, is Colin over at Festi67's workshop, who is recovering from his surgery and is doing really well. Big, massive hugs to you, buddy. You are sorely missed by everyone in the community, but we know you'll be back. Now, as you'll see on Colin's channel, he has had a few scheduled videos pop up over on Festi67's workshop. But as and when we can, Dad over at Scaly Models and myself and others have been sort of helping fill out some content on his channel. Because, like with me, when I'm not making content, of course, I'm not making any money. I'm not making an income. So, because Colin's not going to be he's going to be out of action for a good few weeks yet. We're just trying to help out and get the odd stream on his channel where we can, because it's something we can do just where he's got the clicks coming in. So we are hoping, myself and Dad, to do a frolic tonight at midnight, although Dad's local area is having some broadband issues, so we don't know yet. It might get it done. If Dad's broadband falls over completely, apparently his supplier's having some problems, I'll see if he can give me the stream key. I can just do a solo stream on Colin's channel. It's just a nice way to help your friends out. Do a stream on their channel, helps them out. So big hugs to you, Colin. Hope you're getting better, well, recovering nicely. Wendy Hickson's in, big hugs to you. Welcome, Wendy. EC Idaho and Dan Kramer, big hugs to you too. Graham McRobertson, welcome, Grum. Hugh Gordon, you, with an H. Welcome Hugh, Eon's Car. We have, who else is coming? Gemma Williamson. Hey Gemma, big hugs to you, Gem. I'm guessing Chris over at Gross Models is out at work, so Gemma's sitting there. She's got the run of the house. Leave all the washing up for him, so he has to do it when he gets back. Yeah. Candy Granfamongo is in. Says hello to everybody. Welcome, Candy Granfamongo. We have Scale Model Muse. Welcome, Muse. Morning. Morning to you. Afternoon to us. We have, who else has come in? Let's have a look. Jim Williams, John's Car. I think that's everybody. Oh, Paul Ditter's in. Hey, Paul. Paul says, love me some HHG2TG, which is Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I'm guessing that somebody in a comment earlier on said something about that. There was actually a website for the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Not about the actual story, but it was like supposed to be an online Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I wrote a guide on there on how to make the perfect pot noodle. If it's still around, hhg2tg.org or whatever it was. Muse is just about to make coffee. Random stuff on the bench. Hey, weird, it's... Oh, there we go. Candygram says, hey, weird, it's so black. Zaphod Beeblebrox. Yes, that's when he looks at the ship that they steal from that band whose name I can't remember, that are all dead for tax purposes. I can't remember the name of the ship, but it's all black and it says it looks like a fish, moves like a fish, steers like a cow or something like that. I remember my Hitchhiker's Guide. Oh yeah, Belly and Bench, says Eon. So, Dan Kramer, every time you try and operate these weird black controls that are labelled in black on black background, a little black light lights up in black to let you know you've done it. You gotta like Douglas Adams. Eon's Car says, for the belly, later, chicken katsu curry, very good. And the bench, Wings for Freedom Gundam. Ooh. Never had katsu curry, proper Japanese curry that. It's basically brown with rice, isn't it? Must try some of that. Candygram says, belly, omelette with spinach, mushroom peppers with beans on the side. Beside me, a dog hungrily eyeing my omelette. This is the order of things. Bench, Resin Prince and 1/35th Nebelwerfer, ready for primer. Das ist richtig! Feuer die Nebelwerfer! EC Idaho, if you don't know what a Nebelwerfer is, it's basically it's a World War II sort of early primitive missile launching rack. It's basically imagine a field gun on wheels. You know, you get the old guns on wheels, the cannon, the World War, the whatever, like the flat guns, but take the barrel and the gun and the breech out and replace it with like a load of tubes in a circle, and they all have a little sort of rocket in them and it fires them out like that. And I think they were called Screaming Memes. I think the Allies referred to them as Screaming Memes or something because they made this kind of weird screaming sound as they launched. They were like the precursors to the things you got on the back of trucks in later years, and then obviously to missile racks. Nebelwerfer! I know that because I played Medal of Honor Frontline and there's one in there. EC Idaho, welcome EC Idaho, says bench, EMD F7 New York Central HO locomotive, painting and weathering, belly, breakfast, sausage, biscuit rolls. Ooh, yeah. Paul Ditter, belly, meat, Friday, meat. That's all the detail I need on that one, to be perfectly honest. That's absolutely fine. We always say, give us all the filthy detail, but if you just say meat, that's actually acceptable. Greg McRobert, bench, 1/32nd Mustang, belly, eating a chicken roast while watching you fox. Ooh, very nice. William Rayborn is in. Welcome, Bill. He says, good day. I just called you Bill and I had no idea if I should call you Bill or not. It's very rude of me. Good morning, William. Oh, good day. Fox Hugs. Hope Mum's doing well. Yeah, she's doing all right. She's doing okay. She's getting there slowly. Hot Black was the band. That's it. Says it, you see. Dan Kramer, belly, warm mini cinnamon rolls from work cafeteria. Bench is our bench. More work on the spray booth. Okay. Disaster area where the band, says Paul Ditter. That's it. Hot Black Desiato. That's all the names suddenly click in when I read them. Spending a year dead for tax reasons. That was it. I remembered that bit. Wow, the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy webpage H2G2 is still up, and there is a guide for making the perfect pot noodle. I wrote that. There you go. I knew. That's going back, God, 20 years? I don't know. It must be 15, 20 years when I wrote that. But it's still on there. And it's exactly the same, I think, as my video guide. I'm on the internet in places. Step 1, take the pot noodle, says Paul Ditter. Let's have a look. Step 2, add chopped ginger, spices and meat. Step 3, throw away and eat something else, says Paul Ditter. Don't be dissing my green pot noodles, dude. Oh, no. Don't diss my green pot noodles, food of the gods. Food of the gods. Right, I'm sweating cobs. I really should trim my beard because it's too long and it's irritating my lip now. Right, so I think I'm up to date with chat, so welcome one and all. Don't forget, of course, I do have the chat here in front of me, but I am old and I'm rubbish and I'll have my magnifying lenses on, so if you want to catch my attention in chat, I do want to interact with you. That's all. My streams are all about hanging out with you guys and having fun while I just happen to do some work, and all about 20 minutes of me waffling before I even do any work. But if you want to interact with me, please do. Put your comments in big fat capital letters if you need to catch my attention, so I have a chance to see your comment when it's all blurry and out of focus. Or you can just at me, at Model Making Guru in chat, and it'll put my name in an orange box, so I'll see it. Or if you really want to, and you want to help support the channel at the same time, you're more than welcome to do a super chat by pressing the little dollar symbol at the bottom of the chat window. That puts your comment in a coloured box. It makes a noise over here somewhere apparently, although I never seem to hear it. And there's no way I can miss your comment. So if you really, really, really need me to see your comment urgently, like, you know, you need to say, Fox, there's a fire behind you or something, do a super chat. But other than that, just do at Model Making Guru. Muse says, Foxy, the internet never forgets. I know, I know. Now, let's crack on. So we're going to make the Bane Sword. Now, if you've never seen the Baneblade kit before, it's basically a dirty great big tank kit, but there's actually 8 different variants. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 different variants, all based on the same chassis, but you can do all different variants. And the idea is that you can build. Oh, hello. Temporary Bobbin's name. Welcome, Temporary Bobbin's, on a £5 super chat. Thank you very, very much. It might pop up on screen in a minute. I don't know if I've set it on this stream setting, but if it doesn't, you can see that's what a super chat looks like. Temporary Bobbins, thank you very much. Temporary Bobbins says Bombay Bad Boy is the correct option. Bombay Bad Boy is a fine and noble second to green, but I would say don't be led astray by the doner kebab pot noodle, because the doner kebab pot noodle is just... There you go, see, that's what pops up. Thank you very much. Very kind of you. Yeah, the doner kebab one, when they first released the doner kebab pot noodle, I did a little bit of, I'll admit, I did a little bit of a sex wee, and there may have been a bit of trouser tent going on, because I love kebabs and I love pot noodles. Imagine my disappointment when it came out and I got one and it was just a slightly less spicy Bombay Bad Boy. It was most disappointing. However, to make up for that, I can tell you, if you've got some food in front of you, you've got a noodle dish in front of you, and you want to make it taste like a Bombay Bad Boy, just add a shed load of cumin to it. That's all it is. It's just cumin. That's the flavour. If you never had cumin on anything, open a thing of cumin and smell it. It's Bombay Bad Boy. It's mostly cumin. So there you go. Sprinkle that on noodles. You've got Bombay Bad Boy. And a load of, obviously, hot chilli as well. Candy Graham says, I finally cleared my bench, but then it sprouted lots of boom arms, lamps, cameras and microphones, and I'm going to have to try to clear a build space once again. Yeah, the priorities kind of shift around. I've got this much workspace and everything else is equipment. It's terrible. Steve W. Said hello, but then retracted a message. But I saw that he said hello, but welcome, Steve W. You don't need to retract your message. You're more than welcome to join in. Welcome, welcome. I think we're up to date with chat. Right, so yeah, so you get, if you've, personally I'd avoid one if it were called Doner Party Kebab. Oh, Doner Party Kebab. I don't know what that means. Doner Party. Hello, Fox chat. Hope you're all okay. Best wishes from Germany. Oh, I might have been correcting spelling or something. Hey, Steve W. Welcome. Guten Abend, mein Freund. Willkommen auf dem... whatever the German is for live stream. Yeah, so if you've never seen this kit before, you get 8 variants that you can build. If you're really clever and you've got clever use of magnets, you can build it in such a way that you can swap things out and have 8 variants in one. It's called an octoblade. Basically, a lot of people will magnetise things so you can swap out the different turrets and stuff like that. I'm not going to do that because I don't actually play the game at the moment anyway, and I can't be bothered doing that. I say that the aim of this is to get this built and painted and out the door onto eBay with the other one. So we're going to build the Bane Sword, but I shall show you one of the most pleasing sights of any Warhammer kit. Is that it's a dirty great deep box and it's just chock full of plastic goodness. It's one of the most pleasing sights is when you first get in the box for a Baneblade and you see all the moistening, trouser tent inducing spruage. Oh yes, oh yes. So we're going to have many buildings. So yes, let's crack on. So, but they're all based on the same chassis. So what you do is an American thing, Foxy. Donner Party came to a horrible end. Okay, I don't know what that means. Yeah, you build the basic chassis, so the lower hull and the track units up to this point, and then when you get to the end of stage 2, you then have to do different steps for different versions. So if you're building those to the Baneblade or the Hellhammer, you do these, or if you're building the whichever the other thing is, it's there somewhere, the Storm Sword, the Shadow Sword, or the Bane Sword, you do these steps. So you split off and you do different ones, but they're all based on the same chassis. As some YouTubers say, chassis. There is, I'm not going to mention names, but there's a British YouTuber who says chassis all the time, and it just drives me nuts. You're not American, it's chassis. Mew says, Goggle is your friend. Yes, so is Google, and so spelling. Right, so let's crack on. So we're going to start with track units. This is where I will need, I don't often use this, but because this bench is wibbly wobbly and not straight, I need my glass mat, which is basically a cutting mat made of glass. Gives me a nice flat surface that I can do things on, because the floor panels on the sides of the sponsons of the track units on these, they stick together, but they don't have attachment points. They just stick together with a wing and a prayer, so you have to kind of be a bit careful. So I don't know how much we'll get built today, because it's not a complicated build, but there's a lot of cleanup to do. Donner Party was a group of American pioneers that spent a winter snowbound and resorted to cannibalism. Ah, well, joke ruined. Ah, okay, yes. Okay, yes, joke definitely ruined there, I think. The irony is, I think I'm starting to remember what it is now you've explained it. I'm like, oh, I might have known about that. Now, the first challenge of the Baneblade, of course, is finding the parts, because most of them aren't numbered, which is not actually a problem, because they're quite easy to spot. Look at the detail on that. Is he not? Look at all the details. That's gorgeous. Loveliness. Now I do need to order, because I'm doing it as a Death Korps one, I do need to go onto Forge World and order the Death Korps tank crew again, because this comes with Astra Militarum tank crew, but I'm doing it as a Death Korps tank, so I need the Death Korps tank crew to replace the kit one, so I must get that sorted actually. I'm going to do that shortly when I have finished with the streaming. Okay, so there we go, that's that. I'm just getting the right sprues out, give me a second. There's 3 sprues we need for the track units. They are kind of, although Games Workshop tend to, some of the older kits, the things aren't numbered, which can be quite frustrating. They do, on this kit in particular, they do tend to arrange things into sprues. So like all the track units are on like 3 sprues. So it is kind of handy. So I'll put that over there. So we've got these, I'm going to move these decals out the way so they don't get scratched and scraped in the box. For FFS, Google, stupid phone and half awake, says Scale Model Muse. There you go, you need more coffee clearly. So what we need are, let's have a look, get my lenses on. Be a lot of cleanup going on this build. So we need these 2. Now notice these aren't in any way numbered. They're just not numbered at all, but it's fairly obvious which ones you want, because these are the left side of the tank, and these ones are the right side, because that's the front. So that's the outside of the track unit, I think. Yes, that's the outside of the track unit, so you can tell just by looking at it, that's the right side, and this is the left side of that one. So I need the right side, because it shows it with these big support pins on the inside, and that is what we have. Not on that one. No, actually on that one, because that's the way around it is. If you look at the other one, it's the other way around. So they don't number the parts, but they don't actually need to, if you're just a little bit careful, which is quite rare for me to say that. Yes, coffee, but I have to move to get it, says Muse. It's the price we pay, my friend. The price we pay for the deep joy of coffee. Now I have to say, a couple of weeks ago I accidentally made myself a cup of tea when I was making Mama Fox a cup of tea. Wait, that is the wrong one I'm cutting off. Yep, you know what I'm saying about paying attention. Get myself confused now. Is that the right one? What? Hang on. Is that the right one? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. There we go. Yes, I was making Mama Fox a cup of tea and myself a cup of coffee, and without realising, because I was half asleep, I kind of made myself a cup of tea. And I'm like, oh, well, I've made it now. So I drank it anyway, and it's like, you know what, Barry's tea is quite nice. And I've been drinking Barry's tea ever since, a couple of weeks now. It's weird, I know. It seems unnatural, but it is the order of things now. And so that, just double checking, that is that piece. You can see how it's got like the outer wheels already moulded on. It's not got moving wheels on this. We're not talking like, you know, a Tacom or a Ryefield tank here. We're talking, it's a tabletop gaming piece, you know, so it's quite a simple build. And we've got the back end, which is that one. Just double checking again. We've got the pin sticking out there, pin sticking out here, square bit. There you go. A lot of this, a lot of the parts are so unique or so easy to identify that they don't need to number them, really. They could do, but they don't need to. Use your common sense and a little bit of carefulness and you'll be fine. Got those two parts. We'll get these two cleaned up and glued first. Do. Mew says, nah, warm and comfy. Yeah, but warm and comfy, but coffee. I don't mean but, I didn't mean B-U-T-T, I mean but. Anyway, I hope everyone is well. I hope you're all doing okay and having a good Friday, a good early, almost weekend. As I say, Dad and I will try and do a midnight frolic tonight over on Festa's channel. Again, if Dad's broadband is a bit wonky, we'll see if there's some way I can do it just as me, or I can do it by myself, I don't mind. Do another solo stream. I'm quite happy to do solo streams. Thank you very much. And we'll get this bit cleaned up. Now, I do apologise if you hear lots of banging noises. I didn't really realise, but the way my microphone is set up, it's on a boom arm, but the boom arm is mounted to this workbench, and there's literally nowhere else I can mount it other than to this workbench. So every time I put something down on the bench, it just kind of go boom. Even though I've got a bit of foam trying to isolate the boom arm from the bench, it's not fully isolated, so I do apologise. But you just deal with it, basically. Okay, so we'll get these bits cleaned up. And then we shall get some assemblage. Just see if I can scrape these bits off. Anyway, I hope you're all well. What have you been up to? What have you been watching lately? I've just caught up with the last episode of Marvel's What If. Man, that's a good series. I really enjoyed that. Although it does get a little bit confusing when they have a character, because if you've watched it, you'll have noticed. If you haven't watched it, it's basically animated Marvel, using all the characters that they've used. It's all the MCU characters, basically. But they've deliberately made it look like halfway between the way the characters look in real life, as in the actors that play them in the movies, and halfway between that and the comic book versions of them. So, you know, Doctor Strange looks a bit like Bumblebee Cumberbund, you know, and they all look Hello, what was that? Skullfish has become a channel member. Skullfish! Skullfish, thank you very much for becoming a channel member by pressing the join button underneath any one of my videos. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. It's very kind of you. As you're a new channel member, you will have access now to the members exclusive posts on the community page, which there's not many of them just yet. Also, if you do a colon and then type Fox, F-O-X-X, you'll have a small number of special emoji in this chat. So thank you very much for that, Skullfish. You are very, very kind. I really appreciate your support. It's helping out massively. Anyway, what's talking about? Yes, so they've made them look kind of half and half, halfway between the actor and halfway between the comic book character, which is good. I wish they could have just made them look like the movie character, the actor or actress there, because I'm so used to seeing the actor or actress. Like, some of them look a lot closer to the actual actor or actress than others. And it's quite good, but it gets a bit confusing when they bring in a character that you've not, if you've not recently watched all the movies. I've just binged all the movies again. If you've not recently watched them all, a character will pop up and you'll be like, wait, who's this guy? Who is she? What? And there was one who popped up, and at first I couldn't figure out who the hell it was supposed to be. It was like, it looked a bit like somebody, but it was Happy. you know, Iron Man's, Tony Stark's mate or sidekick, whatever you want to call him. It was him, but it looked a little, once I knew who it was because somebody called him Happy, oh, it's that guy. Oh, and then I was like, okay, it looks a little bit like him, but it had been a while since I watched, you know, first 2 Iron Man films. I'm like, who's this guy? And then there was another guy at one point who turned up, and I'm like, I really don't know who this character is, but the way it's written, it's suggesting that I'm supposed to know who it is. And then at the very end, I twigged it was one of the guys that works for, what's his face? You know, the guy that's Ant-Man, whose name I've forgotten. His security company, it's one of those guys. And when I realised who it was, it's like, okay, it does look a little bit like him, but... So it does get a bit confusing when it's one of the lesser known characters. Because you're like, hang on, who? What? And some of them look like the actors and some don't really. It's like, I think it would have been better if they just stuck with the actors' likenesses. Because they've got a lot of them, they've got the actors playing the character, you know, it's Benedict Cumberbatch and all the others. I think the only one that doesn't do the voice is Robert Downey Jr., I think. And whoever played Ultron doesn't play Ultron. So Tony Stark and Ultron were different actors. I think there's another one. But the rest of them are all just the screen actors, so... But it's a really good series, it's really good. I was most impressed, most impressive. Because I don't have any love for Marvel comics at all. They don't interest me. The actual comic book side of it, no interest whatsoever. Never liked the art style, never liked the storylines or anything. But then when they started making the movies, I kind of fell in love with that side of it. So I love the MCU. I just don't care about the comic book side of it, which is weird. I did watch Black Widow the other day. It was alright. It was kind of a bit boring, really. I mean, after the sort of slight lightheartedness of the movies, and after watching things like Loki and Captain America and the Winter Soldier and stuff like that, Black Widow was a bit... It was a bit uninteresting. It was a bit boring, to be honest. Didn't really do anything for... There's something stuck in my tooth, hang on. Right, what is that? Yeah, there's a bit of... Hang on. I had some mushroom soup earlier on. There's a little tiny bit of mushroom stuck between 2 of my teeth. It would do me head in. Yeah, it was all right. It just wasn't very interesting. I'll be honest and say it wasn't. It's not an MCU movie that I'm going to go back and watch again. Really, it just wasn't. The movies tend to have a certain sense of humour to them, which this one didn't. They tend to have a certain sort of slight silliness, but also they can be serious, but they're also slightly silly and good-natured. Whereas the series, the TV series, are a bit, well, like Captain America and Winter Soldier is a bit more serious. This movie's a bit more like that. It's a bit more serious than silly, and it's like, I'm not really feeling it. Not really feeling it. Didn't really float my boat, I'm afraid. And then I won't say what happens at the end, but there's a moment at the end when I'm like, wait, who's this woman? Who's this? And then I had to kind of dredge my brain to remember who the hell one of the characters on the screen was. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I know who she is. There's a bit at the end that if you haven't watched Captain America and Winter Soldier, you won't know who the hell somebody is. But anyway, I'm not going to say any more than that. But it was alright. It was, I don't know, it was a bit boring. I was debating whether just to stop watching it towards the end. I was like, oh, I'm bored now, I just want to go to bed. And then it finished. So, yeah, sorry, Scarlett Johansson or whoever you are, whoever the actress was, it just wasn't a very interesting film. Not the MCU's finest moment. Right, that's those 2 bits cleaned up. Knife away. DJ knife safety. Sorry, banging. Shouldn't bang. Let's get these 2 bits glued. Now this is why we have this this piece of glass here, because this bench is not straight. I'm not even, actually, you know, I'm not even convinced fully that this piece of glass is even straight. I don't know. I'm assuming it is. I don't know. These two, they don't actually have any attachment points. They just have these slots and holes, but they do actually fit together really well. It's just you need a flat surface to make sure it all stays level. Now the trick with this, I'll show you in a second. Trick with this is to have some sort of metal rod or ruler to hand as well. If I can just get this off. There. And I'll show you why. We're going to use the thick glue. Scaling Models is in. Dad's in. Hey Dad. Says still no internet on day to hump. Hey Fox. Afternoon all. Hey Dad, if you want to send me the stream key for the stream tonight, if you're off, I can solo it. Don't worry about it. Hopefully it'll be back up, but if not, send me the stream key anyway. I can just do one of these. So we're going to use the extra regular Tamiya cement first, just to get it stuck together. Now the reason I'm using the regular cement is because, I've said it before, this is viscous, and even before it starts to melt the plastic, it's a bit sticky by itself. So if I did that with extra thin, it would just fall apart instantly because there's no stick to it. Now what I want to do here is get this on that way around, and I want to use my metal ruler as best I can to make sure this is all flat and lined up nicely. Now you'll notice there's a gap here. You'll see there's like a chunk cut out. This is correct. There should be like a V-shaped gap. That's actually correct. That is the way it's supposed to be. Let's have a look at this. Is that straight? Yes. So I've seen people panic because they think those two should line up perfectly. They don't. They're supposed to be like that notch. I don't know why, but it's supposed to be there. So now we've had the fat glue do its job, I'm going to take the extra thin and just some extra welding. The way the fat glue works is similar to the extra thin. They're welding cements. They melt the plastic and bond it together. The difference is that the regular cement is a lot more viscous and not quite as powerful in terms of welding strength. Doesn't melt it quite as much. I'm not being careful with the glue. You can see it splashing around everywhere. You're not going to see this. It's hidden away, and I just need it to grip like a leech. So I'm not fussed about this being pretty. That's that bit. So you can see there is like a weird. Oops. It's not quite straight on the edge, but I don't know why they've done that. They just do. It's just the way it is. I don't know why. I'm just using the edge of this ruler to make sure everything's straight as I can get it. Just about, I think just about. It's quite tricky because it's not a naturally. I need this ruler to be like half the length really, but that's fine. Make sure they're lined up. Just trying to manoeuvre it. If I didn't do that regular cement first, you can see that's nice, straight as a die there. That's perfect. If I didn't do that regular cement first, that would have just all bent and flopped around because the extra thin welds better, but it's not viscous, so it wouldn't have stayed together as nicely. That's not quite straight. Let's just line that up. There we go. That's a bit better. I know you can't see this probably, but there we go. That's looking pretty good to me. So don't worry about the little chunk taken out there. There we go. Now there is some leeway on this. It's slightly forgiving, so it doesn't matter if it's not 100% spot on. Now we need to do the feed. I don't know what you call these wheels at the front now. The feed wheel and the traction wheel, whatever they are. The spool with the spindle. I don't know what they're called on tanks. I don't know about tanks. Let's have a quick look at chat. Sarah Jane's in. I've made countless coffees made with tea bags and tea made with coffees. Yes, I'm a twat, but it makes the day have surprises. Yes, don't pay attention to what you're doing. It makes life more interesting. I've learned that. I'm going to take my watch off because it's hurting my wrist. Yeah, What If was a lot of fun. I also really enjoy Star Wars Visions, and I just finished the Lego Star Wars Terrifying Tales. I've not watched that yet. Hope you're okay, Sarah Jane. Welcome, welcome. Last visual entertainment other than YouTube was a concert 2 weeks ago, says Muse. Russian guy from Ant-Man had me stumped too. Took a bit to figure him out, says Dan Kramer. Come on, Fox. Red Guardian was awesome. He was all right. I quite like Red Guardian, but that was the only sort of mildly humorous. There was a couple of little bits of dialogue where it was kind of humorous and amusing, but it was kind of boring. There was almost like there wasn't enough action. What action there was good, but there wasn't enough of it, and there wasn't enough humour. But what humour there was good. It was weird. Hugs to all, says Dad. Sarah Jane says, bye all. You off, Sarah Jane? Thank you for coming in, though. Take care. Yeah, Dad, if you want to send me the stream key, if you're going to struggle tonight, just send me the stream key and I'll do a solo stream. Unless you're back up. Right, so. Right, who knows about tanks? What are these two called? The wheel at the end, at either end. There's the idler wheel, which I think is that one, the one at the front, and there's the one at the back. I don't know. This isn't a real tank. Let's not mince words, Bones. L1 and L2, L3 and L5. So we want some parts are numbered. Thankfully all the track pieces are numbered, which is a bit of a godsend. L1, L2, L3 and L5. Let's put this over here. Yep. So L1, L2, there's L2 and there's L1, okay. L1, L2. What did I say? L3 and L5. L3. Is that one? Oh, Gross Models is in and has become a channel member. Chris, you're very, very kind. Thank you very much, my friend. I super appreciate that. Thank you. I thought you already were one, but thank you very much. Unless, of course, this... I get all excited, but there is a chance that this is actually Streamlabs being weird. Sometimes Streamlabs says that people have become channel members when they actually became channel members months ago, and it's just Streamlabs going, oh, and then pinging out a notification when there isn't one. So I shall be quietly excited that Chris has become a channel member, but I thought he was one already. L5, where is L5? L5, where are you? It's going to be on a completely different sprue, isn't it? Yeah, you know it. It's not there. Is it on here? There we go. L5, there we go. That's the one. There we go. L5. La 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 la. It's Warhammer, so they're probably the hate wheel and the death wheel. Yeah, you're probably right, actually. Hate wheel, the death wheel. We'll get these quickly assembled. Now, this isn't the most exciting part of this build. I have to say, doing the track units is not the most exciting part. And it's probably it's the most fiddly part, because you've got to, not so much this, but you've got to make sure everything's nice and straight, so that when you put the tracks on, they sit straight and they don't suddenly have big gaps at the sides if you make your track unit a bit wonky. Wonky donkey. Am I on camera? Yeah. Looks a bit weird. Yes, so anyway, I found Black Widow a bit boring. It doesn't help that I utterly cannot stand Ray Winstone. I absolutely cannot stand him in anything. And any time I see him in a film, it instantly makes me not like that film. Because he's just not a good actor. He just plays Ray Winstone. And considering he's supposed to be some Russian dude, it's like, you just sound like, he didn't even make an effort with an accent. And I can't stand Ray Winstone. I find him utterly just not watchable at all. So that casting decision kind of put me in a bad place to start with, I suppose. But not that I would let that sway my opinion on a film. It can still be a good film, even if I don't like every actor in it. But no, I did not enjoy it. Get these nubs sanded away. Sanding nubs away. Now, I'm not going to be too prissy and careful with these road wheels and track units and stuff, as I did with the last Baneblade, for one simple reason, that is they're going to be covered in mud and dirt. So if you're building something like the Baneblade, if you're going to weather it, you don't need to stress too much about getting everything nice and neat and tidy. You know, you're going to cover the tracks and wheels in dirt and grubbiness. I don't think that's actually visible when it's in there anyway. I think that gets covered up by track, I think. Yes, it does. I'm not going to bother sanding that down. Yeah, so they're going to get covered in dirt and grime. So you're not going to see me like clean every single piece of track to perfection and get rid of all the little sort of mould lines and seam lines, because they're going to be covered in dirt. So you never see a track with clean tracks, a tank with clean tracks, unless it's in a museum. And as these tanks can be like hundreds, if not thousands of years old, although it's Death Korps, so probably not that old. Okay, that's that there. I do have to hand some plastic card and this and that, and plastic strips and rivets and things, because most likely as I'm going through this build, I will end up sort of sanding away or carving off some rivets and things. Because some of the rivets are in just terrible places. But I do have my collection of small rivets sent to me by my good friend Kenneth from Australia, that I can use to replace rivets. And that was one of the fun parts of building the other Baneblade, adding all the rivets and stuff. I did loads of extra bits and bobs, and like I put the spare wheel on the hull and put a strap around it and stuff with plastic card. It was great fun. So I might do similar things on this one. I'm not going to go into too much detail with it, because I say I need to get this built quickly. I'm not going to do it completely in depth like I did the other one, but I'll do some customization. It's Skullfish in channel. I haven't seen Skullfish in a long time, but YouTube just made a notification regarding him too. Says Candygram. Yeah, I haven't seen Skullfish for ages, which is why I was wondering whether it's just my streaming software, you know, sponging out and pinging up notifications that aren't relevant. But if YouTube just sent a notification, then maybe you did. That might have been a YouTube hiccup, says Dan Kramer. Could be. Could be. Right, so I need two. I thought I've got two new channel members there. Oh well, never mind. Here I am, brain the size of a planet. This needs to go in there like that, you'll see. So we should insert this into the relevant. Come back, you. Don't you be going over there. Little escape artist. Plastic Monkey's in. Welcome, Plastic Monkey. Hey, Paul. Yeah, I haven't seen Skullfish for a while. Hope he's alright. Hope you're alright if you're out there, Skullfish. Hope you're doing okay. Skullfish. That's the thing. Current times at the moment, when you don't see someone for a while, you're not wrong to be worried. Given things that have been going on over the last year and a half, recent events and events worldwide. It's not a wrong assumption, or not a wrong concern. I'm going to be generous with the glue here, because what I'm going to do is squeeze these together, so then the glue can splooge out, and I can scrape and sand that away to get rid of that little gap there, the little seam line. Don't need to worry about fillers. For most things, fillers aren't required. And again, it's going to be covered in mud anyway, so we'll just squeeze it together a little bit, a little bead of glue, and I can smooth that away with the scraping tool later, and that'll get rid of that gap. Next we need to do L5. L10. That needs to go long end into this side. Now this is a bit I didn't enjoy on the last one, because these didn't quite fit very firmly. You're supposed to put this in there, and then it goes into the other wheel. It never either doesn't go all the way, or something. No, I'm doing it wrong this spin. Put the wheel in first, you Spingleberry. Yeah, the wheel goes on there. L3 like that. got a D-shaped thing. So that has to go, I see, right, there you go. It's been a while. So this D-shaped rod needs to go through the D-shaped hole in the wheel, like that. And then it sticks through into that. The problem is that not a lot of it sticks out, and it's not exactly the sharpest edge. So it's got a little bit of play to it, and you need these teeth to be exactly in the right place, because these teeth here are what the tracks locate into. So it's got a little bit of wiggle to it, and if they're not quite right, your tracks might not match up. Now the problem is, as soon as I put glue in here, it's going to soften up that joint. That peg and hole is going to soften. So I've got to hope that when it goes in, it stays reasonably lined up. If I start wiggling it around, trying to rotate it into place, it could smooth off the edges of that D shape and it'll just make a mess. And it'll look like garbage. So we'll get that in there. I do like the fact they put all the wheel detail on the inside of the wheel, but you never actually see it, because once the track's on there, you can't see that anyway. So that is on there. You just have to hope that's lined up. These little teeth are lined up. I mean, if they're not, you can always cut them off and just loosely fit the track. It's not a problem. Okay, then we've got the L4, which is going to go. I'm going to leave that for a minute to set. I don't want to start moving it around. I've got to put another wheel on the outside of it, but I'm going to leave it to set for a minute. L6 and L7 and L8 is what we need next. So let's get those. L6, L7 and L8. This is for the drive. Is it the drive sprocket, the drive wheel? I know the front wheel's called the idler wheel because it's not powered. It just pushes itself along. So I assume the back one is the drive wheel, drive sprocket. I don't know. Drive talking. Angus Allet's in. Hi everyone, Angus. Hi everyone, says Angus. I've gone blue too, says Chris at Gross Models. Yep. If you remember, if you're a channel member, then the little icon next to your name changes colour the longer you remember. I think it goes up to 12 months and then it just stops, I think. L6 and L7. L6 is there. Welcome, Angus. Nice to see you. L6 und L7, ja, das ist richtig. L7 is there. Right, give me a second, folks. I think there's somebody at the front door. One moment, I shall be back in a moment. Nope, there was nobody. There was a van driving away, but nothing in the porch, no parcels. So it wasn't obviously a delivery. Who else has come in? Anyone? Nope. Up to date with chat. Joseph Kelly's in. Hi all, nice to be here. Welcome, Joseph. Welcome, welcome. Right, right. So we need to make these rear wheels. Nobody in chat got the tank knowledge. Tell me what the back wheel's called. I'm pretty sure the front one is the idler wheel or something. I don't know. I need to move the instructions over there. Where's my file? I need to put my little filing mat. You can tell I've not done a live stream for a while. I'm just blathering on incoherently, more than normal. I should point that out. little nubs removed. Get this rear wheel assembled. I had a hell of a time with the last Baneblade getting these wheels to glue in and not just like be wibbly wobbly and not, you know, and keep them straight because of the shapes of the attachment pegs. Having like a D-shaped peg and a D-shaped hole is great if your models are moulded in sort of firm, crispy plastic. But GW's plastic's kind of soft. Not like Airfix soft, not like that garbage, but not like, you know, Airfix make their kits out of rubber. But it's kind of soft, and when you put a lot of glue on it, it can go a bit soft around the edges, and when that's your entire plan for keeping things lined up and straight, it makes things a bit tricky. Just get these knobs sanded away. Again, not fussing too much because they will be covered up by track anyway. You could get away with just not sanding these at all, but I've got a certain amount of pride. I'm going to sell this for money. Then if I'm expecting people to pay money for these things, I've got to make some effort, you know. Can't just slap it together and blap it with a primer coat and say, there you go, done. That's not how it works. So once these are done, I will be sticking them up on the eBays because I need the money. My plan is that the other one, which is the one I built last year, which is Watch Me Build, that's one with all the extra greebles and stuff and 4 sponsons, that will be painted in standard Krieg sort of German grey, if you know what I mean. That kind of German European theatre grey colour scheme, which is kind of, it works for Krieg, seeing as it's the kind of, you know, that sort of style. So that's going to be the standard German grey. For this one, what I'm going to do is a colour scheme. It's called it's Caunter Camouflage, C-A-U-N-T-E-R, which, if you've ever looked at a model of a Matilda tank, it's that blue sandy coloured and green colour scheme. Now I looked into it because I couldn't remember what it was called, so I had to look it up. And I found out some interesting things. Whenever you see somebody who's made a model of a Matilda tank, or a tank in that colour scheme, and even in some museums where the real things are, they're painted in 3 colours, like a light sand colour, a light blue colour, and a light green colour. However, apparently that's not actually what Caunter Camouflage was. How do these go together? L6. Apparently Caunter Camouflage was, if I've got this right, 2 sort of different shades of a dirty grey and a shade of another dirty grey. There was no blue. There were greens and greys, apparently, in actual Caunter Camouflage. So apparently, it's not really known where the idea of having blue in there came from. It's correct, isn't it? Just make sure I've done this right. L6 or 7. Yes. There we go. You've got the teeth here on the wheel. This is where the track will go into those teeth. Okay. So, yeah, apparently that it's like greys and greens, but for some reason, in the modelling world, it's become, and then into the actual restoration in museums world, it's become this blue, green, and tan sandy colour, and it's thought that perhaps some of the darker greens and greys on the camouflage scheme actually faded to look like that kind of colour. And of course, you know, colour photographs from the time are few and far between, so it's like a game of Chinese whispers where the colour, everybody now accepts that colour scheme, especially for Matilda tanks, as tan or sand, blue and green, but it wasn't. However, if you look at actual Caunter Camouflage, it's boring. It's just grey, grey and green. It's not interesting at all. Whereas if you look at the wrong one, it's a really nice colour scheme. So I'm going to go for the wrong Caunter Camouflage. That's what I'm going to do. Right, so I need to glue this other wheel on here, which is L4. So it'll be my fictionalised Chinese Whispers version of Caunter Camouflage. What do I need? I need my cutters. I need L4. Apparently, anyway, I mean, I could be right. I don't know about tanks that much. But I know I like the look of the Matilda. Matilda. There's just something about the three colours combined with the rust of the exhaust colour and rusty tracks just looks... It sits in a good place in my brain. And part of it as well is when I was a kid, and I've shown you the book before, I've got the Encyclopedia of Military Modelling. And in there is a full colour shot of a Tamiya 135th Matilda on a workbench with all the tools and reference shots and photographs and paints and stuff, and it's all fully painted. Like somebody's built it and they've just taken a photograph on their workbench. And that's always stuck with me, because in this book of like 1970s models that are mostly really poorly painted, this was a really nicely painted one, but it was that blue, sandy and light green colour scheme, and it stuck with me, that particular tank. I don't know why, just that one. So I shall paint it in that scheme. I mean, I could do them. It doesn't really make sense if you've got, because if I sell them together like a little squadron of 2 tanks, if squadron's the right word, it wouldn't really make sense that one's in one camouflage scheme and one's in another. But maybe one's just been transferred. Maybe they're in the middle of a battle and it's gone from trench warfare to siege warfare, and they've had to call in like a battalion of siege tanks, because this one is going to be like a siege tank with its quake cannon. So maybe they've called it in and it's not had a chance to be repainted from whatever desert planet it was on. There you go, that's my logic. Plus it'll look good. So, but I don't know if I'm going to sell them together or separately. I might sell them together. We'll get them done, painted up and get them on eBay. Get them on eBay. I'll post up in the Boom Hut and everywhere else when they do go for sale. I'm not going to be filming them because at the moment my priority is to earn some income. So my priority is to get them done. Not to, because if you've never done this, you don't know, but like filming a build makes the build take like 2 or 3 times as long. So I just need to get them done. And because my time at the bench is limited, you know, I might have half an hour here, an hour there, when I can count on Mama Fox being up and about and not ill, then, you know, I've taken what chance I can get. And right now, just picking at half an hour here and there to quickly rattle off some paintwork is about the best I can do. So that's going to go on there, like that. I think it's better if I don't put glue in there first and just attach it in place and then feed some glue in. I think when I did the last one I was putting the glue in first, and that was melting the actual connection point and softening the deep joint, which led to me having wibbly wobbly wheels and such. So I think I should glue them together once they're put together. There we go. Right, so let's have a quick look at chat. Swig of tea. Nom 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 nom. I didn't know what either a recaf or Nafal biscuit is, so I'll just drink my tea, says Candragram. Warhammer references. Recaf is coffee in the Warhammer world, and Nafal biscuits are referred to a couple of times. They're like a sort of nice biscuit, apparently. There's a whole thing about foodstuffs in the Warhammer universe. Philip Buck says, hi, it's me. Nice to be here and not at work. Hey, Philip Buck, welcome, welcome. Thank you for coming along and not being at work. Yay. Angus says, it's 1:55 AM, so I'm definitely not at work. Now, I would hope not. Gaunt's Ghosts came up on pre-order, says Angus Allett, on the Games Workshop website. Ooh, I'd be tempted. I'd be tempted on that. But I don't think I'm a good enough face painter right now to do characters. I don't think I'm that good. But I do like the look of them, though. Oh, yeah. It does seem odd to have blue in a camo that was in a forest environment, says Dan Kramer. The Corta camo was designed for desert environments, and it was based on dazzle camouflage from the battleships. The idea is it may not necessarily, because in a desert you've got basically sand and you've got blue sky, so it's more weird to have the green in there. It's the same reason that like the Pink Panther Land Rover was pink, because it was designed to be driven around at sunrise and sunset, so when the sky was kind of a pinky colour, and if it's off on the horizon it's harder to see, because it'd be at sunset and sunrise. They were like SAS night missions. But the idea was it was more about the shapes breaking up the hard edges of the vehicle. So you'd see the thing, you see what it was. It might be camouflaged a bit, but you'd see it, but you wouldn't necessarily know be able to discern all the different edges and shapes to figure out which was the front and back and where all the weak points were, because the colours would break it up. That's the idea of dazzle camouflage. It makes it harder to interpret exactly what you're looking at. And that's why when you see like cars going around test tracks that haven't been revealed yet, like, you know, cars that they're working on, they'll have that weird kind of like zebra stripe pattern all over them, so that when your typical you know, photographer snaps a photograph over the fence at this new BMW that nobody's seen yet, it's hard to see. You can see it, you just can't quite interpret it as well as you if you saw all the edges and corners and curves. It kind of works. It's weird, but I think the idea was they're going to see it. It's just going to be harder for them to interpret what they're seeing, I think, is the idea. Right, so this needs to go on here, like this, you'll see. Like that, there. And again here, you've got a piece that glues on with no actual attachment pegs. And you have to take it on trust that it's straight and true for when the other pieces go on, and then the tracks need to go on. You're kind of doing it on a wing and a prayer. It is kind of on a wing and a prayer a little bit. Who could it be? Believe it or not, it's just me. Anybody get that reference? Believe it or not, I'm walking on air. I never thought I could feel so free. Running along on a wing and a prayer. Who could it be? Believe it or not, it's just me. It's a great tune, that. Great tune. Yeah, so it just literally sits in place. And again, I'm using the fat glue. If I just use extra thin there, that would instantly fall off. But I can go in with the extra thin to shore up the weld. The fat glue just gives you the physical. It's a mechanical stick. It's not a chemical stick. It's not. It does eventually. You know, it's similar to the extra thin. It will eventually melt the plastic, but for the first 30 or 40 seconds, it's not a chemical stick. It's a physical, literally a viscosity stick. You know, get two pieces of toast with jam in the middle, stick them together. They're going to stay in place. Jam isn't glue, unless it's really bad jam. Bad jam. Got that tune in my head now, though. I did that to myself, didn't I? Yeah, pretty much. Greatest American Hero was in the UK. Absolutely, it was a Saturday morning show. That was over here. One of my favourite theme tunes. See how this is a bit wobbly. It's not quite straight, and it's not going to stay straight. I don't know if you can see on camera, but that wheel is just wobbly. It's not perfect by any long chalk. Once there's tracks on there, it's never going to move, but you could be forgiven for just not gluing that wheel in at all. So you've got room to manoeuvre it around, but yeah, we'll see. But that tune's in my head now. The Greatest American Hero. Yeah. I think it only got shown once. I just remember it being on Saturday mornings. The Tammy and Matilda kit is nice, and the 3-colour wrong colour scheme looks ace. I know. I always thought it's just the wrong colour scheme. Now this is a tricky one, because here you get the D socket and the D peg. But again, it's going to be a tenuous link at best, because it's a real soft fit if it goes in, even if it goes in even. So it's like, it's not the strongest of fits, and you need to make sure it all lines up and sits straight. It would be better to get glue in there first, but I don't trust it not to melt that deep in to the point where you've got no control over the orientation. So that probably would come off. It probably isn't going to stick in place very well at all, but at least I know roughly that those teeth are in the right place. Roughly. At the end of the day, if you have to, we can wing it with the tracks anyway and just kind of fudge it. I like to fudge it. Interesting. I didn't think it would have had an international appeal. I don't know, it was just one of them things that got shown over here on one of the channels in the 80s. You know, we got all the Fall Guy and A-Team and all that kind of stuff, but they showed some other stuff like, you know, we got the Greatest American here. I think it got shown once, but I think at that point they'll take anything that was aimed at that kind of program, I think. Quite happily. Whenever I do this, I can't help thinking that I've screwed up somewhere and that I've made a right pig's ear of it, and I'm going to find that the tracks don't fit. Yeah, I can't not shake that feeling. And last time I did this, I had the same concerns, but we'll find out. We shall see. La 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 la. Right, now we have to get the other side in place. So we want. This is now going to be the outside of the track unit. Actually, I got these the wrong way around. This is the left side. I said this was the right side. That's the inside of the track unit. That goes into the hull, and it's this side that's the outside. I had them the right way around, but the wrong way around, if you'd know what I mean. So now we have the outer pieces of armour, which form the bit that you see on the outside. So there you go. It's the pretty bits. Pretty things. Khajiit likes pretty things. That one, and a little bit of this one. Anyway, I hope everyone is well. Hope you're all okay. Took the Foxmobile in for its MOT a couple of weeks ago. It passed with flying colours, but with several recommendations, advisories, which means getting it through the MOT cost me 45 quid, because it's just MOT. But then all the things that were on the advisory list afterwards, if you're not in the UK, when you take every year, you by law you have to get your car MOT'd, which is a stupid name because it's MOT stands for Ministry of Transport. So to make it a verb means you're getting your car Ministry of Transported, which makes no sense. Anyway, it's an MOT certificate. It basically says this vehicle is safe to drive on the roads. It's not going to kill anyone. It's not going to fall apart. It's a certificate of roadworthiness, and you have to, by law, get one every year. If you don't, if you're pulled over by the police and your car is not listed as MOT, when you get it MOT'd, the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Agency has it on their records, and then police do an AMPR check on your licence plate. It will say no tax on MOT, or it'll say you're taxed and insured or whatever. And you can have your car seized and taken away and squished and crushed if it's not road legal. It just confirms that your car is legal to be on the road from a safety point of view. So I took it in for his MOT, passed with flying colours for a 21-year-old car. That's not bad. But the advisories there was quite a few things. And I would have left it at that because I'm lazy skin. But all the things on the advisory list were things that have been on the advisory list like for the last 5 years. Like, you know, your steering rack needs some work. The steering rack brackets are falling apart. You've got play in the steering dampers. You've got this, that. Yeah, there's a few things on there. So I had to bite the bullet this year and just say, look, you know, I'll bring it in next week. We need to get all these things done. I've been putting them off for like 5 years, and I need a car, don't I? If for no other reason than to be able to, you know, take care of Mama Fox. So passed with flying colours for the MOT, no problem. All the work after that was £1,000. Yeah, that was a lot of money I didn't really want to spend. So that was fun. But now the Foxmobile is back in business, and it feels like a new car. It literally driving it. It's now got like firmness in the suspension, and it's got quieter exhaust, and it's got steering that isn't. The steering feels slacker, but in a better way. It's weird. So yeah, hopefully next year it'll pass the MOT again, and it won't need that kind of expense. The thing is, when you've got a car that's 20 odd years old, you expect that kind of stuff. You expect to have things that need to be done. And ordinarily it'd be a case of, well, you know, £1,000's worth of work on a car that's probably not worth that much. You just have it scrapped, but I don't have an option really. I do need a car. If for no other reason than to be able to, you know, do stuff for Mama Fox. But ultimately, getting that one sorted out, yes, it costs more than the value of the actual car, but at the same time it costs less than actually buying a new car or buying a car to replace it. So, but also, it's got I painted the car myself, and it's got a shark mouth on it. I'll pay anything to get it roadworthy, because I don't want to go back to driving a boring car. That's the thing. I can't afford to ever crash it, because you know, you crash your car, you take it in and they get a new panel for it, but how do you get a new panel for a car that's been painted to look like a rat rod with a shark mouth down the side? It's not going to happen, is it? So yeah, so I can never afford to crash it or knacker the bodywork in any way, shape or form, because it will just ruin the paint job, which is meant to look ruined. So that was expensive. And in other news, yesterday I had my flu jab. Yes. Now, when my doctor contacted me, again, if you're not in the UK, when you get to 50, you get your annual flu jab. I think it's 50. My doctor sent me a text message saying, "Hey, Mr. Wolf, you're now eligible for your flu jab." And I'm like, oh crap, I'm not that old yet. Come on. I'm not 50 yet. But it turns out it's nothing to do with that. It's because I'm a carer for Mama Fox. But I also get a flu jab. Not everybody gets a free flu jab. Or not everybody gets a flu jab. It's, old people get flu jabs just to, you know, each year. So anyway, so I was like, man, I'm not that old. But it's because I'm a carer for Mama Fox. So everybody's been taking the mickey about the fact I've had my flu jab. I don't know. What else has been going on? Not a lot, really. Been going on in the world of foxulatories. I say I'm still struggling to find any proper time at the bench, and there's so much I need to get done. I've got part works piling up. I've got an e-models build that I was hoping to have done by now, but circumstances Mama Fox meant I haven't. But I need to the thing for e-models, I need to film it, and of course filming is not something I can feasibly do right now without knowing I can sit at the bench for a good couple of hours. Whereas something like a live stream, I can stop on a dime. You know, I can just do it in the half hour I get here and there. But you know, you're trying to film something, it can take half an hour just to get set up and ready to film. So yeah, I've got e-model stuff I need to film. I've got part works to build. So much stuff. I still haven't painted George's Warhammer Conquest stuff from a couple of years ago. I think this year is not going to be the most productive of years. I can only hope that next year, because this family's had a tough 2 or 3 years in terms of medical stuff, but I can only hope somehow that next year it's a bit less pants and we can actually get some stuff done. I shall have a look at chat in a second, folks, when I've done these nubs. So yes, so cars MOT'd. That's a bit pricey, but it needed to be done. Choice between paying all that money out and not having a car. Yeah, I kind of need a car, so. Big fat nubs. Big fat nubs. But what I can do, which you've seen me do a few weeks ago, is when I do get little bits of time, I can do the part work stuff, because that is low maintenance filming. It's not like filming proper paint jobs and stuff and painting tutorials. That's complicated, organised stuff. But filming part works, you're just screwing things together. So I can do that a bit easier. Which is why when videos do pop up in the coming weeks, hopefully, they are going to tend towards the part work bits, because I can quickly rattle off, you know, 3 or 4 issues of a part work in a day or two. Whereas I can't guarantee how much of an actual proper build film, because, you know, a proper build, it could take me all day just to get some airbrush painting done, and filming it as well. No, it's asking a bit much there right at the minute. Hopefully your stream's still going strong. You can still hear me and see me okay. Do let me know. So I'll have a look at chat in a sec. Now it's stuck. Poor Foxy, says Muse, about the greatest American hero. Yeah. Apparently that theme song was like, it was in the charts, in the US charts, and was like #1 in discos. I mean, bear in mind, late 70s, early 80s. Apparently it was released as a single and did quite well, apparently. Whack a file in the wheels to make sure it's straight, says Angus. I don't really know. That one's not quite straight. But it's kind of half stuck now, so it's going back into position. I can always force it if necessary. There we go, that's a bit better. Wheels with teeth with an H. I'll do that again. Wheels with teeth with an H, says Dan Kramer. Did they have a comment about the paint job, says Dan. I've been using the same garage for a few years. Basically. It's a local garage, so they know my car. But no, they've never actually said anything. They're one of those things where they're usually so busy anyway that from their point of view, they just want to get a car in and work on it and get it out again. So they don't really do a lot of small talk and stuff. They're nice enough. They're just not particularly chatty. You go in, right, oh yeah, you got those car. It's like, buy, done, money, gone. La 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 la. Right, let's get these pieces on. So these two need to, not yet. I've got more pieces that I need to get off and clean. Okay. That didn't go well. I need to glue these two together though, don't I? See, basically what will happen is these two pieces will go like this, you see. That will go on there like that, you see. It will attach via these two handy dandy pegs and not attached to the wheel at all. And this one will go on the back like that. There. They will also have all the wheels attached to them as well. But we need to attach the wheels first and get these two attached together. So, I'm going to get the wheels off and cleaned up first because I want to glue these pieces together and use the wheels to go across the gap. So, sorry, that'll be loud in the microphone. We need parts L9 and L10. L9 and also L10. Yeah, time is it? 20 past 4. L9 and L10. L10 is there. Oops. Snippage. Fail. Snippage fail. L9. That's L10. L10. Oops. And L9. There we go. Anyway, so what we're talking about. Yes, what you've been watching lately. So I've been watching What If. That's been really good. Obviously Star Trek Lower Decks. I'm really enjoying that. That's fantastic. What else have I been watching? Other than that, I've been stuck for things to watch. I've been just like trying to find the odd documentaries here and there on various channels. I saw one the other day. It was like, just randomly had a look, and it was like, it was about a massive climatic change that happened about 500 BC, 500 AD, 530 or 40 AD, about 1500 years ago. And the first half of the programme was like, what could have caused this? Could it have been a meteor? Could it have been a comet impact or a meteorite impact? Could it have been this or that? Or what could have possibly... And all the investigations that were done to find out what caused this, like, 3 or 4 years of terrible climate. The problem was, the title of the documentary was basically saying how Krakatoa screwed up the climate for 10 years. So, yeah, and it's that universal thing. I've had the same thing with my video titles. You want to put in the title something that tells people why they want to watch the video, but it gives away, if you're trying to have a mystery in the content of the video, you kind of have to give it away in that. It's weird. It's like when I do mystery package tabs, I might want to say, put something in the title that tells you why you want to watch the video, thing that says it's a Baneblade or something, but then you can't spend the first half of the video saying, what could be in this box? It's in the title. Oh, yeah. It's quite challenging. Anyway, it wasn't exactly the best documentary in the world. Don't need to worry too much about these because these are barely visible at the best of times. I need to just wipe my nose because I've got the runny nose scenario. Oh, sniffles. These are barely visible anyway. I mean, literally, when they're in place, you see. That might not be the right one on the right piece, but where does it go? You kind of see that. Yeah, you don't need to worry too much about making sure these are all nice and neat and clean, because the only nubs are actually on the bottom of the wheel, which is going to be where the track is. So you can just quickly sand these bits. In this case, you're getting rid of a nub to make sure everything fits, not getting rid of a nub to make sure it's pretty. There's no mould lines or anything you need to get rid of. So you can just quickly, you're not going to see that. No need to worry. Yeah, so what else have we been watching? Anything else? Not really. I did say, I told you a few weeks ago, I found the British Pathé YouTube channel, which is great fun to watch. It's been great resource of like amusing viewing. Right, L9 needs to be this way. We've got two little notches here. These two need to line up, so it's those two there. And that one's floating in midair, because that's where this other one comes into play. So what I need to do now, move this out of the way. Get these two glued together. Clean that end up there. It's a bit rough. That's a bit rough, isn't it? Paul Di Tommaso is in. Hello everybody, hope everyone is doing well. Hey Paul, welcome. Thank you for coming along, my friend. Good to see you. It's good to see you. Now, as before, of course, we want these to stick together, so we shall apply a little bit of the fat glue first. Not too much, I don't want it splooging out everywhere. I don't want it splooging out and making a mess, but I do need to make sure it grips with a little bit of sticky. So I'll put that there like that. Now this is a bit of a flatter piece, so I can actually just leave this to lie on the surface. Give that a second. I will attach the wheels, which is making sure that's there and that's there. That needs to go in that part, like that. I think I can do this with, I'll do it with a little bit of the fat glue just to make sure it grips in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just to start it off. I mean, I could just leave it with this glue, but I do find that the extra thin has a bit more welding power than the other. That should fit in there, like that. There we go, perfect. This bit's much easier than the other one. Touch of fat glue. On there. Squidge. That's that. Now that should be nice and flat. Oh, no, you spoon box. That should be nice and flat. Now these of course have got some wobble to them, so you need to work kind of quickly. We'll get the extra thin in here to weld, to funk up this joint. Give this a nice firm weldularity. If I can get some glue on the brush, that'd be good. I'll go on the other side. The only thing to watch for is when you do put the extra thin on, it can then loosen the joint that the fat glue has made. So you've got to give the fat glue a few moments to do its thing. And then be careful when you put the extra thin on there. Because just for a few seconds it'll loosen everything up and it could all fall apart again. So, oh hello. Oh, see what I've done there? I've got a blob of glue that's blobbed on there. So what I need to do is that very quickly with my finger. Now that'll leave a fingerprint there, but that's fine, because I can just very gently sand that in a bit. It'll get rid of that. Hello, Mama Fox. It'll get rid of that mess. Right, we'll get some extra thin on these joints where the wheels are. I think I need to fill this extra thin up to get to the point where I've got to shake it. And it's probably making a big noise as well on the microphone, so I do apologise. There we go. So that's those on there. They're probably not super straight, but that will be fixed in a moment, because now is the winter of our discontent. Made glorious summer by this sun of your... No, it's not. Now is the time to glue these two parts together. So there we have these two sit together. Now weirdly, the wheels on this side don't actually join into anything on that side at all. There's nothing to say when these are lined up properly, other than it looks about right. So the best thing I can do now is think ahead before I glue them together. And what I want to do is get piece track number, because the next step is doing the track anyway. So if I get track piece number 5, track number 5, stop it, copyright. If I get two parts, track piece number 5, which I'm not going to clean up, I'm just going to, at this point, I'm just going to get it on, get off the sprue. Track piece number 5, and I also need a piece of armour, which will be well on the other sprues. It will be the top piece of armour, which is going to be la 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 all the way over there. Plug back down. It's going to be that piece of armour there, which is that one, and you'll see what I'm doing. Yes, how you doing, Paul? Hope you're well, mate. Hope you're having a good Friday. Can't think what else I've been watching now. That's about it, really, I suppose. Right, so this is the plan. I like to think ahead sometimes and just doing little extra things just to make your life easy. So we'll take that little nub off of there. I'm not going to clean this piece up fully just right at this moment. Take that little nub off there, just to smooth it off. Now see what will happen when we glue this together. That is a piece that sits in there, which goes, where does it go? I see, it goes like that. So that piece, no it doesn't, it sits like that. This is just about getting the right width and gauge for the track pieces. You need to make sure everything's the right distance apart. So that needs to be, that's the wrong way around. There we go, it's that way around. I think I've forgotten how this works now. That might not be the right piece. It's supposed to be 5. Yeah, it says 5. So my plan is that these will lock into place. Like that, to see. That will sit like that. They're far too far apart, but I wouldn't know that unless I tried to, you know, put the track on. And then that's like that. So this piece should then fit on there like that. Like a glove. So that's how I'll know that it's all lined up nicely. So what I need to do is, now I've got that, Get some fat glue going on first. Don't need to be neat here because this is all interior nonsense that you're never going to see. Get that on there. Sponge, that goes in there. That's it. I'm not going to glue this track on. Obs. That sits on there like that. I can just make sure the track's all nicely lined up. Yes. I can make sure that's. I can get some extra thin into these joints, and I'll be generous with the amount of extra thin because I want the extra thin to seep into the two sides. That's why the extra thin is good. It's thin and watery, so it gets sucked into gaps. There we go. That's why you see me being generous. When it's somewhere that you're never going to see it, it's hidden away on an interior part. I'll just very quickly get rid of these nubs, just for extra safety. DJ nub safety. Got a few seconds to work on this piece before the glue fully sets. Just to make sure that's reasonably flat. Right, so now, with that in place, hopefully lined up nicely, I'm just looking at the two teeth that go into the two little sockets. Yep, they're in. This can go in here, just to make sure it's the right width. So that sets the width at the top. The track sets the width at the bottom. And that is lovely. Almost. It's pretty much on par. There we go. I'm not going to glue the track or this top piece on at all just yet. They're just literally there as spaces, really. Just to make sure that everything stays where it's meant to be. I don't want a big gap down here because this end's too far apart. And I don't want a big gap underneath where the track doesn't fit, so the wheels aren't straight, because then the track will be all over the shop. So if I put that there and then put it on this end afterwards, it's not the right place, but you've got these two teeth on the end of the track and they fit into these two little recesses here. So just making sure it's all straight and true. There we go. So I can leave that to sit for a minute. Leave it on that side. I can leave it and just hold it like this for a sec. It's not the strongest of joints because you've only really got those pegs in there between the two that are holding it together. But once you glue all this extra armour around on the top and bottom, it will lock it all in even more. But of course I need to make sure before I get to that point that these two verticals are actually straight. So we shall try and close a jar with one hand. There we go. Okay, so I shall hold that for a moment. It should be absolutely fine. It's just, you don't need to go to all this trouble. It does fit together really well, but like you can see there, that wheel's not quite straight. So, yeah. I can straighten that up now. The back wheel is, I don't know if you can see it at all because I might not be holding it right. The back wheel is almost straight. There, it's about right. It does seem to sit on a little piece of the plastic, so I can glue that back wheel a bit more, but I think I'd rather leave it a little bit wibbly wobbly because then if I need to get the track in place, I need to be able to adjust that wheel. It's not going to be super movable, but it'll move a little bit. So a little bit of play in the feed and idler wheels is probably not a bad thing. Okay, so there we go. That's that one on. Just make sure that stays in place. This is really only the tricky bit of this entire kit. Oops. It's just making sure this all lines up because there are no, it's not all got lots of pegs and holes. It would have been better to have a lot more pegs and holes to make sure everything is fully lined up, but you know, hey, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? I don't know. So we'll hold that for a second. Let's have a look at the chat, have a swig of tea. Yum. Hey, right. Chinese have an awesome digital blue camo, says Angus. Cool. I learned from watching Chris do his digital camo Baneblade that I'm never going to do a digital camo Baneblade, or even Baneblade even. La 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 la. Now it's stuck, poor Foxy. Oh yeah, the tune. Okay, not a lot of chat to catch up. Oh, yes, there is. It just jumped. Burpage. It needs a crow's... Colin says it needs a crow's nest. Yeah. No. I'm not making an Insane Blade. I don't have... If you've not seen Colin's Insane Blade, somehow you've managed to not ever watch anything on Festa 67's workshop, you need to go and check that out. He basically made a Baneblade, but he used pretty much every piece in the box. But not to make an Octo Blade. Oh, you can also make sure this is lined up here as well. By just, you see there, you've got that gap now. I don't know why they have that. He didn't make himself an Octo Blade. What he made was all the components on one tank. But he also added, because it's like an orc, a stolen orc. It's like orcs have stolen it and repurposed it. So it's got like a crow's nest and a rope bridge. And it's just a fantastic thing to behold. Space Hamster ZH is in. Welcome, Space Hamster. Unsolicited advice, because watching Fox build this is triggering. I assembled the sides of my Baneblade without the treads on to paint them separately. Don't. Yeah, no. If you traditionally make realistic looking tanks, then you'll know that when you paint tracks on a tank, ideally you paint the tracks off the tank, because on a real life tank, the middle bits here where the little teeth are, they tend to be fairly clean. Even if your tank's covered in mud and filth and dirt, the actual wheels polish those parts of the tracks and they keep all the dirt and mud away. So what you'll tend to do is on the inside of a track, you'll make it more of like a clean metal colour with a little bit of dirt, but you'll do lots of polished metal effects. Unfortunately, on this one, also it makes it easier to paint the actual rubber parts of the wheels. On this one, the tracks are just multi-piece tracks that just lock into place. And you can't really do that. You can't build the tracks separately and then click them into place, because it's just a few pieces that go here and it stops like there. It's not a complete circuit. So you could have all the individual parts and paint them up, but the problem is, I thought about this, but gluing them in place is not as straightforward and simple as you think. It does require some fiddling and fettling, and like I'm doing here, you may have some bits where you've got to fuss around and get them to fit, and if you've gone to all the trouble of painting it, you're not going to guarantee it's all going to fit together perfectly and not need some fussing later on. So, and then that'll just mess up your paint job. So I've resigned myself to the fact that it's not going to have super realistic track weathering, because it just can't. I did think about putting on the tracks afterwards, but I realised that would be just incredibly not clever thing to do. Doodle 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 doodle. So it does mean, you're going to have to take a little longer to paint all the rubber outers of all the wheels and things like that. Yeah, it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world. And it'll be covered in mud and dirt. Space Hamster, what problem did you have though with your painting your track separately? Paul Di Tommaso says, I hear it will take Fox at least a decade before he gets around to doing the things I sent him. Oh, absolutely. I've got piles of stuff that people have sent me that I'll take forever to get around to. Yeah. I get the flu jab too, says Angus. And Dan Kramer says, I still need to do that. I work for a healthcare system, so it's a requirement. I always get a flu shot. Got mine last month. Had the flu once and don't ever want to go through that again, says Candygram. Oh, yeah. I've had the flu once. And where I used to work in like the, not personnel, but I'd been put in charge of like, holidays and sickness and stuff. And you get someone say, oh yeah, can't come in today, I've got the flu. And they come in the next day absolutely fine. You'd be like, dude, you did not have the flu. You were just hungover. Because trust me, when you get the actual flu, when I got the actual, I was unconscious for like 3 days. I went to bed and sweated for 2 days. Yeah, if you've had a cold, you've had a cold. If you had the flu, you know you've had the flu, the proper flu. It's not pleasant. I mean, I literally went to bed and just didn't wake up for like, I had no memory of being awake. I probably got up to go to the loo and stuff, but I went to bed and woke up 2 days later, basically. Absolutely broken and sweaty and horrible. You'll get stuff done eventually, says Angus. Paul saying hello to everybody. I've got half a kilo of ham to use. Any recipes come to mind, says Angus. Ooh. Is it still on the bone? Oh, if you can hear noises, there's kids next door doing lots of screaming and shouting. So, is it on the bone or is it just a block of ham? Is it like processed ham or real ham? If it's on the bone, I'd say dump it in a slow cooker with veggies and stuff and just... Ooh. Okay, buddy, just laying here watching some guru bloke building stuff, says Colin. Yeah. Big hugs to Colin. He's recovering and getting there slowly, but it is a slow process. Right, I'm going to take that off now because the next process is doing the tracks. So we've got an hour and a quarter. I think I can get the tracks on this track unit done before home time. So let's see if we can do that. Now, like I said before, you're not going to see me spend ages cleaning up all these mould lines on the tracks, purely because they are going to be covered in dirt and grime and mud and stuff. So especially when, you know, if you're ever looking at building things either as commissions or for sale, it's not a case of cutting corners. It's a case of, you know, maximising and minimising how long it takes to do everything. Now, what do I want? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so all those parts then. 5, 4, 7, 12, 6. Yeah, they're all numbered on the back, thankfully. They did actually number the track parts, which is like, thank goodness for that. So, what was I talking about? I've got no idea. I've forgotten already what I was talking about. I have that effect. But yeah, if you are like building stuff, if you're just building something for you, then you can spend weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks on something and just fettle with it endlessly. But if you're building something to sell, it's different. You want to do a really, really good job because you've got to justify a decent price. You know, if you want to ask good money for something, for a piece of art, you've got to put the effort in and make a good piece of art. But you need to get good at being efficient. It's not cutting corners, it's not skipping steps or doing half a job. It's more like, if it's a build for myself, I could spend a whole day airbrushing the base coat. If it's a build to sell, I need to get it done. So I'm not going to lavish that much time on it. I'll still do the same job and I'll make it just as good, but I'll put a fire under it and I'll do it faster. And there are, you know, economies of scale. There are things you can do that you don't need, that you might do for yourself, for your own build. If you're doing it for competition, obviously you do everything you can, but when you're doing it to sell it, there are things you can do and leave out that don't matter. Like, for example, I could spend an hour cleaning up these track parts to get them looking, you know, competition standard, but I'm not building for a competition. And to be honest, when they're finished, you won't see the parts that are covered up with mud. It's that kind of thing. It's, if you're doing it for a competition, you need to make something look great and then cover it up with weathering. You know it's there. Doing it for yourself. When you're doing it to sell it, it's the end product. It needs to look as good as possible, but you don't need to do all the things that are the classic, you know it's there type things. Like if I'm building a tank that's completely sealed and there's no way to see inside it, I wouldn't build the interior if I was selling it, because it's not got removable upper hull. You know, I'm not deliberately making it to work like that. It's economies of scale. You know, and if I built a tank and it had a full interior, and I said this tank is £499.99 because I spent a week doing the interior, and the buyer's going to be like, can you see the interior? No. So why am I paying more for the thing I can't see? Yeah, so you quickly learn. Not saying not cutting corners, not missing things out. It's just there are things that you don't need to do if you're doing it, you know, not for a competition or not for yourself. There are things you can do or get the same result other ways. Like I say, one of those is weathering. I'll still cover, you know, fill up gaps and seams and things, but for things like mould lines on the tracks, I'll sand them down, but I'm not gonna spend a whole day doing them because they will be covered in dirt and dust. Und mud. It's like any piece of art, you know. When you look at a beautiful oil painting, you look at the beautiful oil painting. You don't look at what's underneath the oil painting. That's a really bad analogy, actually. It's not a very good analogy at all. It sounds like cutting corners, but it's not. It's hard to explain, really. I don't want to do that yet. You don't want to spend a lot of time doing stuff that no one can see, that the buyer can't see, and you don't want the buyer to spend extra money on something they can't access or see. You don't want to charge them extra. Because at the end of the day, like, let's go back to the tank. If I built a tank with a full interior and spent a week painting the interior, I can't ask the buyer to pay for it if they can't access that interior. But at the same time, I've then wasted a week painting something that I could have been painting something else and sell it a second kit or a different kit. That's a week of time I've just taken painting something that nobody's going to see and expecting them to pay extra for it. Nah, it's nonsense. Take a WYSIWYG approach. A buyer will want to pay for what they can see, not what they can't access or see. And there's no point spending all that extra time unless you can ask for extra money for doing it. Like, you know, you can charge extra for a diorama because it's a diorama, you can see it. But you can't ask them to pay more for something they can't see or access in any way. So, and that's not what you do. You know, I wouldn't charge extra because I've taken all the mould lines off the tracks. But it's an illustration of it's like an illustrative point. I know that the weathering can hide those mould lines just as efficiently as me actually removing them, but it's a lot faster to hide them with weathering and more efficient than it is to actually remove them. Because it's more efficient, I can do it that way. I'm not having to ask for more money, and I can turn it around faster and get to the next sellable build faster, if that makes sense. Economies of scale. Don't put 100 hours into a model and then ask for 70 hours worth of money, is what I'm trying to say. But then again, on the same token, don't put 100 hours into a model that looks like a 70-hour model and ask for 100 hours worth of money when it's not obvious that there's 100 hours of work in it. You know what I mean. Ultimately, if you can do something a different way that's a lot more efficient and faster but looks just as good and is just as effective, then do it that way. Don't do it the complicated way. Right, let's get these quickly cleaned up a bit. Now, the lucky thing with these tracks anyway is that that little mould line is kind of on the dividing line between the upper and the lower half of the track parts. So you could actually say that it's two separate pieces of track. The only bit where it's visible is on the track pin. So that's quite easily fixed by just quickly running a file over it to take it off the track pin. Like that. With a gentle file, smooth file, takes the mould line off the track pin, which then makes it less obvious, and the actual mould line then is just part of the, that's not the best file, is it? Let's use a better file. I don't want to file the track pin away, but I want to file it enough that I can get rid of that mould line. Yeah, that is much faster than trying to get rid of the mould line all the way along the track. Still not fast, but it's faster. Faster! There we go. That's one. Again, it's going to be covered in weatherings. That was a very long way to me explain that, but there's no way to explain it without it sounding like I'm saying cut corners and do half a job, but I'm not. La, 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 la. Best wishes for your recovery, Festus, says Candygram, as does everybody else. Cheers, Angus. Had a blip, but back home. Missed your Festus Factoids on Monday stream, says Angus. Yeah, oh yeah. It's a, hope all is progressing well for you, Colin, says Angus. Yeah, I'm getting there. It's a slow process. There's lots to look out for. Oh, I'm going to be back with a bang. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Well, don't forget, Cole, we have a what do we call it? Buddy build. We have an Orc Stomper buddy build at some point in the future. Me, you and Dad. Me, you and Dad Bert. That's the wrong sanding stick. There you go. I will file away these little bits here, these edges where they join, just because they are kind of a bit obvious. Also, well, I've got nubs as well. I didn't do that on the last piece, did I? Because you can, where the two pieces lock together, you can actually see that. And because it's a gap, of course, you can't guarantee it'll be hidden by any mud or weathering effects. So I will get rid of that, just to make sure. Because if I do any washes on the tracks, of course, it's going to show up like nobody's business. So we'll make sure that's cleaned up. Fat glue, says Eon's car. Fat glue with a PH, not an F. In fact, it might be quicker to do them with the scrapey. There we go, it's faster. Scrapey tool's a bit faster for that. Keep in mind, of course, tank tracks, they're battered. They're not going to be nice and smooth. So I'm not fussed if they're a bit rough around the edges. You need to rest up, Colin. No crazy stuff, says Muse. Absolutely. Well, he's got no choice, because if he tried to do any crazy stuff, H would just kick his ass, but not literally kick his ass. She couldn't kick his ass now, but the thing with Carl is, H knows she can't kick your ass right now, but what she can do is keep a list of reasons that she should have kicked your ass, and then they'll be in abeyance until such time as she can kick your ass, and then she will kick your ass. But it'll be lots of ass kickings at the same time, and that's the worst thing ever. So, yeah. Cole knows all too well. He does what he's told. It's not worth the trauma of, you know, the ass kicking. We all know who wears the pants in that house. All too well. But then, like all of us, you see, Cole's a man-child, so it's only right that H wears the pants in the house. Because if she didn't, it'd be a nightmare. There we go, that's that one. You can get quite quick at this. Colin, did you set up that Google Drive folder for me yet? Says Paul Di Tommaso. I'll leave that one there. This is not my conversation. There we go, bigger screen, says Muse. Big screen, pointy finger. Hang on. Big screen gets you a free Guthorm. Oh. There you go, swig of tea. We might get this track in place by the end of it. I don't know, let's find out. Might not. So just quickly running it over these track pins. Track pins, you say? Glad to hear you have a good recovery plan, Colin. We're all looking forward to your triumphant return. Oh, yes. When he comes back, it'll be Festa 67's Workshop on Ice, the musical. Maybe not. I will look into it this weekend, Paul. Oh, it's the same conversation about Google Drive folders. No worries, Colin. Oh, okay, so that's jumping. I'll catch up with chat in a sec. Let me get these tracks clean first, then I'll catch up with chat, and then we'll see if we can get them on. Coming up to 5 o'clock now, so let's get these pieces cleaned off. Yes, it would be easier to paint the tracks off, and it is something that is always recommended. Tank builders say, you know, when you do tracks on a tank, even if they're rubber band tracks, try and, you know, paint them when they're off the tank, because you need to be able to get into the middle of it on the inside and have the separate weathering. Because just the same way that any raised details on the outside of the track are going to be polished and clear because they're moving in contact with the ground, same with the interiors with the wheels. So there's a really big plane outside somewhere, I can hear it, taking off from the Manchester airports, I suspect, which is, you know, what airports are for. Funnily enough, it's funny that, isn't it? Right, that's that there. That's that there. Getting there now, getting there. Dying for a wee though, but I can deal with it. Makes me laugh, you know, on the fuel barrels on the back of this tank have a dirty great big mould seam line down the middle of them, which when I do it I'll fill with plastic card, but it makes me laugh even on the Games Workshop box art built by the painting team. They've not filled it in. It's like, really? You couldn't even be filling in the big dirty great gap in the middle of the fuel barrels? Lame, guys, lame. I mean, I can think of better ways they could have moulded the barrels, but I guess that affects sprue placement and cost, so, but yes. This is the exciting part of the build. Can you contain your excitement as I file and sand things that you probably can't even see on a webcam because it's a webcam? Oh, hello, ping. No, 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 no. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Actually, I've just realised I was saying to Dad earlier, wasn't I, if his internet's still down, to go ahead and set up the stream anyway for tonight on Colin's channel, and I'll get the stream key and stream. If Dad's internet's down, he can't go and set up the stream. You idiot fox. So, for the Friday frolic tonight, it's 100% dependent on whether Dad's broadband's working. So stay tuned. If we can get it going, it might be a last minute post that goes up in the Boom Hut and Festa's Workshop group and other places saying, stream's on at midnight, there you go. But it might not happen, so. Because I'll only need the stream key to be able to do a solo stream if Dad can't make it, but of course the stream needs to be set up in the first place. Never mind. These things happen. I mean, I couldn't do last week because my computer was dead, so yeah. That was fun. La 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 la. I'm not sure what dinner is tonight because I never did bench and belly. I think benched a belly tonight. I'm doing bacon. I think Mama Fox wants a bacon butty for a dinner, which means I can then, instead of a bacon butty, I can take the leftover bacon that she doesn't have and I can make some tagliatelle. I'll make some nice flippy floppy tagliatelle. I've got one of them Mattison's bendy sausages that I can grill and chop up into little bits, and then sprinkle on the rest of the bacon chopped up into little bits, and have a nice sauce, maybe a carbonara sauce. Ooh, that'd be nice. That'd be nice. That'd be my dinner, I think. The good thing with me is whenever I make pasta, I make far too much. My brain has no concept of how much pasta is required for one person, so I just say, put it in the pan, and then whatever is made, I eat. Either all in one go or gradually. Either or, I'm not fussy. That's that one. Only a few more to do. I'll have a quick look at chat when I've done these. What time are we on? 5:05. Yeah, we'll get these done. Get these tracks done and call it a day for this afternoon. It is quite a quick build though, the Baneblade. It's once you've got the track units done, it's not exactly a long drawn out build. And you only spend a lot more time doing cleanup because the parts are so big. If you're interested in a Baneblade yourself and you've never made one, there's two things you can get. There's obviously the kit itself, the Baneblade kit, which is an 8-in-1 build, but there is also available an optional extras sprue, which includes things like more ladders, more barrels, extra crew figures, it includes a couple more sponsons and lots of little accessories and things like that. So if you're looking at building a Baneblade, I do recommend it. It's like 15 quid, I think. Goblin Gaming carry both the kit. Not all the retailers have the extra sprue. Sometimes you have to go onto Games Workshop's website, but Goblin Gaming do have both. I think both are just out of stock at the moment. I bought the last one. This is the last one they had in stock, so they've got more stock coming, but they're just waiting on stock for the Baneblade and the extra sprue. So do go and check it out. You get more sponsors and all kinds of bits and bobs. It's great fun. But don't forget, of course, if you want to pick one of these up for yourself, please do go to goblingaming.co.uk. Don't just go to the website though. Don't use that link. Use the link that's in the description below the video. That's my affiliate link. That tells them that I sent you and I earn some income from that. It doesn't cost you anything, but I earn some commission from that. So use the link in the description below the video for Goblin Gaming. And for your more traditional model making stuff like your tools and equipment, of course, make sure to go and check out emodels.co.uk. Again, link in the description. That's for all the stuff you'll need to build your Banebladings. Yeah, but there's an extra sprue. And if you want to build the Death Korps one and have Death Korps crew, Forge World do have a Death Korps tank commander set, which is pretty much two figures. One commander and one, well, he's either an observer or he can be a gunner that sits in, and they can use them on Lehman Russes and Baneblades, all kind of armoured vehicles. They're just generic figures that sit in the turret. With the kit you'll get a couple of Cadian or Imperial Guard dudes and a commissar, but if you get the Forge World one, like I'm going to order one when I've finished here tonight, I'll order one. You get the commissar, the commander. I've got them here. You won't be able to see them because they're black. But I've got the observer dude there with some binoculars and the guy actually in the turret, again, who's Death Korps, and they're just replacements for the in-kit figures, which are generic Imperial Guard. Because if there's one thing Death Korps like, it's armour, heavy armour, because there are a load of Forge World Death Korps tanks, so that's why they have that. But they fit into this, so there you go. Right, that's that one. Couple more and then I'll have a look at chat and we'll crack on. This is the moment when you start putting the track on that you realise it's all gone together wrong and it's not lined up and it's all gone to crap, basically. Yeah, flop sweat time. Now I'm going quickly here with this file because they are tracks. They're going to be worn and scratched and scuffed anyway, so I don't mind if it's not the smoothest baby but smoother finishes. A little bit of texture to it, that's fine. Again, it's going to be covered up in dirt and mud, and it's also going to be, it's a tank track. Come on, go and have a look at a tank in a museum. Even in a museum, clean, repainted, restored tank, the tracks look battered and rusted, because that's what tank tracks do. Last one. I'm hoping to get these painted up in, I'm giving myself a couple of weeks. It might not take that long, and it might take longer. Again, it depends on, you know, how Mama Fox is doing and how much time I can get at the bench when I'm not looking after her and stuff and doing stuff around the house. So hopefully I'll get some decent time at the bench. So I'm giving myself a couple of weeks to get these done and painted up. And if they sell, if they go down well and they sell, then it might be that every couple of months I just set aside a couple of weeks to get some more Baneblades done. especially right now, being Death Korps, of course, with renewed interest in Death Korps that's come around, it might be a good time to start making some Death Korps armour. From a purely, financial point of view. Because make no mistake, model making guru is a business. This is a business to me. I know I do it for the love of doing it, and I do it in my videos to teach you guys how to do it, but at the end of the day, it's a business. It's my income. Model making guru. It's a small business. I file my tax returns every year, and that's fun. Who's sending me emails? Who'll be mailing me? Oh, Amazon. Ooh. Don't get too excited. It's like toothpaste or soap or something I have to order. Yeah. Not exciting orders. Sometimes Amazon orders are just things that you need. Right, so that's that. I shall have a quick look at the chatularities, because I've not done for a little while. I don't like leaving you guys in chat alone. Not that I don't trust you, it's why I don't trust you. Where are we up to? Edward Leonard's in. Sea jelly hugs. I rested the other pieces on tracks to make sure everything would fit, so that was mostly okay when I finally glued them on. The problem was that the sides are insanely unstable without them, and they kept coming apart. I screamed a dozen times at least. Ah, yes. Yeah, I mean, they're only attached by those little tiny, these pins here. It's like, oh! So every time you're trying to build, because what Space Hammer's saying is he left them like this and then built the rest of the tank, but yeah, they've got the wibble to them. You have to put the track on to keep them from doing that. Yes. Scale Model Muse. The only time I was ever sick like that was after getting the flu shot. I'll pass. Yeah, I've had people say to me, I'm not getting the flu shot because I'll get the flu. It's like, you won't get the flu, but you'll get symptoms of the flu, mild symptoms. With any inoculation. In fact, let's not have that conversation for obvious reasons. But yes, if I have a steak, it's going to taste like, I'm going to burp like I've had a steak. Still gets me how expensive Warhammer stuff is. What do you think about 3D printing Fox? For it or against it, says Philip Buck. I haven't got a 3D printer, but 3D printing something that exists as a kit made by somebody else is theft. Like if I downloaded a Baneblade STL file and printed it off at no expense, that'd be theft. I'd be stealing. Same as, downloading a song off or a TV program or a movie off a BitTorrent site. It's, oh hello, look at that. That's come off straight away. That wasn't really glued in very well, was it? No. 3D printing something that doesn't exist anywhere else. That's just completely not even glued in place, has it? Oh well. Yeah, 3D printing something that doesn't actually exist anywhere else or has never been manufactured, like something that's out of print, say from Games Workshop. That's fine. They're not losing money. It's not something they make anymore. So, sorry, I'm just putting this wheel back on. But if I had a 3D printer, I would never print something off that is a kit that exists elsewhere. Because it's getting something for free that is actually something you should be paying for. It's basically theft. But no, I mean, something that's either out of print or no longer exists, it's fine. I don't have a 3D printer myself, though. Right, so this is the tricky bit. We'll go back to chat. As long as you're printing for yourself, it's all good, says Muse. Yep. When I had the real flu, I found myself holding my breath as long as possible because drawing air was incredibly painful. A big nope to ever having it again. The company can't have control. Yeah, but the problem is if you're doing it for yourself, that's fine. That's saying, well, that's fine. But if everybody had a 3D printer and everybody printed off a kit rather than pay for it, the company that makes the kit would just go out of business. It's like the old argument with like bootleg Gunpla. Like, I can't afford a Bandai kit, but I can get this bootleg one that's half the price. Yeah, but if everybody did that, Bandai wouldn't be making Gunpla anymore because everybody would just buy the bootleg ones. So, yeah. If it's a model that exists and is is built, if it's a kit that exists and is in print, then I want to buy the kit because that's how the people that make the kits keep going. If it's something that doesn't exist anymore or is long out of print and is never going to come back, then that's fine, you know, it's not a problem. It's the only way you can get a model. Temporary bobbins. I am back. I had to go deal with some annoying grown-up stuff. Also, sponsored. Yes, sponsored. Angus Salad made extra spaghetti bolognese. Awesome toasted sandwiches on the menu tomorrow. Dan Kramer's going out to get lunch for him and the wifey. See you lovely people later. Thanks for coming in, Dan. Take care, buddy. Enjoy your lunch. Cheese sandwich, says Ghost Lyle. Welcome, Ghost Lyle. He's having a cheese sandwich for tonight. Edward's making sauce with meatballs and sausage. Why is it always meatballs? Somebody's always having meatballs in a chat. We get worldwide video broadcasting technology that's affordable to anyone. And what do we use it for? Watching a guy on the other side of the world file plastic. Yay! Dave Cardboard says, Cracker Jack, it's Friday and it's 5 o'clock. Hey, Dave. Snack time, Vegemite and cheese under the grill. Ooh, Vegemite. I've jumped ahead chat here, I've not even noticed. Never built to sell, we'll be worried that we'll buy it, says Fest67 Workshop. Just build it, sell it, and somebody will buy it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I'd never make my hobby my job, it would ruin it for me. I'll gift away what I can't display, but selling it... Well, this is why I don't do commissions, because commissions are massively too stressful. It's massively too stressful. But if I'm building something anyway, then I can build it to whatever standard I want and sell it. I'm not under any pressure, time pressure or quality pressure at that point. So that's different. I'm still doing what I love to do because I want to do it, but if I can make an income doing that, then even better. Right. Anyway. Right, we're up to get with chat. Peeps coming out over for barbecue tomorrow. Meat, says Paul Ditter. Change of plan, making ragu for tonight. Ooh. Meat. Right, let's get these tracks lined up. So, we need number 5. Cash in number 5, please. Number 6 will be there. These all link together. Number 5, number 6. Number 7. Das ist 7. Then we have 4, 3 and 2. So 4, 4, 3, there's 2, there's 3, so 4, 3 and 2. This is me being all organised, isn't it? It's not right, is it? Doesn't seem natural somehow, does it? Then we need 1 and 12, so 1 is there and 12 goes on the end of that. So that's the track going that way. Und at the other end we need 8, 9, 10 und 11. Ja, das ist richtig. 8. That's around 8. 9 and 10. 9 and 10. And finalmente numero 11. Whatever that is, I don't know. Right, so that should be the right order. So what we need to do now is the trick is to get just the first piece in the right place. So if we take part number 5, which should go here, that set of nubs. So that sits in there like we found earlier on. That goes in there. Now you can see it's not quite fitting. I've got to push these. These have actually squished together a little bit. Even when you get them right, you've got to push them apart a little bit. So that goes in there like that. So what I'm going to do is, even though I line them up perfectly, I've still got to push them apart a bit. So let's get this sorted. We've got these 2 tabs here for those pins. You've got 2 big pins there and 2 big pins there. So let's get some glue on these. I can be a little bit careless because they're not going to be seen that easily. I'll get some extra glue in here. I'll put some glue on the wheels, just a little bit, just a touch. I will run some extra thin over these as well. But let's get these on here first of all. That goes in there like that, making sure the track is the right way around. There you go, pushed in like that. There you see, nice and shiny. So even though I used the track to separate the 2 sides apart the right distance, even though I did that, they still squeeze together a bit. So when you were saying about Space Hamster saying that everything kept moving all the time because he hadn't glued it all together, that's why. Now you need to make sure the skull face is that way. So that's that bit. I will run some thin glue down there in a second. Piece number 6, which is this one, locks on. You've got 3 little tabs there. That locks onto there like that and lines up with these little holes. So again, we'll put glue in there. Bit of glue on the wheel. So this is the easy bit. It gets tricky later on when you get to the single individual pieces that don't quite act as quite cooperatively. That needs to go on there like that. Spadunge. Those lock into... They don't lock into there, they lock into there, like that. There we go. Push that one in. See, they don't quite fit into those little holes there, but that's the next piece that will fit in there. So I'll push that down and make it nice and flat. I shall get the extra thin ready. And we shall run that as best we can. I'll try and do anything on the inside because you're less likely to see what's going on the inside of on the inside wheels than on the outside wheels. So often the inner wheels are a good place to carry out some sins. Also, the extra thin can be used to hide any splooges of glue that have come out. I'll get some extra thin in there. There we go. Now, Sod's Law says you will end up with some gaps here and there, and some little bits of gaps between the 2 sections of track. That's fine. All the different track sections. It's not going to be perfect. Remember, this isn't a Ryefield tank. This isn't a realistic, accurate Ryefield tank. It's a Baneblade. Put some more glue in there because that's dried off a little bit. We shall do some glue on there. Apologies if I'm off camera. That needs to go. Put glue in their little holes. That needs to go on there. Kaplunk, like that. It just about reaches that one that I forgot to put some glue on, so we'll just touch it to there like that. You see? I can push that wheel down a bit so the track meets it halfway. Make sure that slots into there. So you get that gap there, but that's meant to be there. That's supposed to show like the bit between the 2 pieces of track. I shall touch that to there. Now this bottom piece number 7 is on. Of course I can use it to push this rear drive wheel down, because if you remember, that drive wheel was kind of floating in midair and wasn't quite straight, so I can use that to push that down. And then we have parts 8, 9 and 10. So this should logically, just make sure it's all straight, make sure it's all flat. It's looking fairly horizontal. You can sometimes find the track goes a bit skew-iff, so you have to watch, especially these back pieces. It can go a bit off at a funny angle sometimes. So just keep an eye on that. I found on my other one when I did it, one of the tracks was kind of like that, and it sat really funny. It was like arse, but it dried by that point. So we need to do these now. This is where it gets tricky, because these bits need to go around this sprocket. Sprocket, that's the word I was looking for, wasn't it? Sprocket's the word I was looking for. So we'll put glue on there. Touch of it. Oops, put the glue back in the right bottle, rather than completely the wrong bottle. That should go in there, like that. Now these are going to wiggle around a bit, so you have to do some fettling now. Which is why you don't want to get too handy with the glue, and you don't want to take too long to do all this either, because there will be some fettling and adjusting to do as we go along. But again, you go and look at a real tank on a real track on a tank. It's not all nice and neat and lined up. Sometimes it's wobbly and lumpy, and some bits go bend one way and some bits bend the other. It's all gravy. Like we said, it's going to be covered in dirt and dust and filth and muck and grime and horribleness. These two are going to fight a little bit. That's fine. It's not one of the fun aspects of this. I will be honest with you, this isn't one of the fun parts of this kit, because it can be so finicky. glue on you. I'm putting a lot of glue on that. It might look terribly messy from right now, but once it's all painted and once it's got weathering on it, it'll be fine. There we go. And then we've got this one. Apologies if any of this is off camera, by the way. I'm doing my best to stay on camera as much as I can. But it's not so easy, you know. That will sit there. Have to be a bit generous with the glue. When I can actually get some coming off onto the brush, that'd be good. I do like the way you get this kind of effect of the teeth between the track parts, the track pieces. These little gaps here. I do like that effect. It just makes it look a bit more like an actual moving, wibbly wobbly track and not just like a rubber track on a Tamiya kit. It's just, you don't get that effect because it's all just constant. It's contiguous. And then we should have one last piece which sits on there, which should be part number 11. A bit of that. Bit of, there's no holes for the pegs to go in, so we'll just stick some glue on there. And this should just sit on top. This is a fiddly one now. Got to get it in there somehow. Yep, that just sits on there like that. Splond it down, splonk. I'll leave a bit of a gap there just to fit with this idea of these supporting link pins and things, rather than have it match up perfectly, because I want it to suggest like this. It comes up here, the gap gets bigger, then it gets smaller. So then there's no gap between them two, but that one there is. There we go. That looks about right to me. Put that there. It's actually quite hard to get any glue into the gaps here though, because it's quite tricky to get the brush down where the glue needs to be. Yeah. There we go, that's that on that. So yeah, it's not the funnest part of this build. But I've got to say, that's actually come out better than the first Baneblade I did, which was a lot more, especially around the rear, the sprockets at the back. I had a lot of problems with the rear wheel on my other Baneblade. This one's gone like a dream, if I'm honest. Said that now, the next one I do. When I do the other side, it'll be a living hell, you watch. Okay, so that's there. That's looking nice and flat. I'm just going to look down from the side. Yeah, that's fine. Let's get these front pieces on and then we're done then. Right, I'm off. Have a buildy weekend, everyone, says Space Hamster. Thanks for coming in, Space Hamster. You take care of yourself, buddy. And we shall see you soon. What time are we on? 28. Yeah, we'll get this finished. As well. That as well. So we want piece number 4. Cashier number 4, please. See how that's not even straight there. It'll be straight in a moment. Don't you worry yourself. So that needs to go there. So it needs to slot in that way now. So here, we want to put some glue in that bit. And there. On tops of these wheels. And on the top of that wheel, just a bit. Put some glue on those teeth. That can squish in there. Squish, squish. There's somebody near here and they've got a lawnmower, right? It's a long way away, but I can hear it, and it has, I can describe the sound of the lawnmower as a particular chord. It's like a little harmonic sound, but it's also exactly the same as a chord in one part of a piece of music from a Doctor Who soundtrack. I can't remember if it's something in season 3. I can't remember which piece it is. But it's like there's music going on, there's a chord in the back, and every time I hear it, I've got that piece of music pops into my head. But the thing is, he seems to, I don't know why, but he seems to cut the lawn like every 3 days. Because every 3 or 4 days I'm like, oh, he's doing his lawn again. It's quite a relaxing little sound, but it's like You can't be cutting the grass again, surely. That's not normal. That's beyond suburban nonsense. I mean, how, you know, surely no one can be that middle class. 4, 3, 2. So we've got the same again like we did on the last one. These now need to meet up round this idler wheel. Should be fairly straightforward. You watch now, this will be the awkward one. Whereas in the last, I thought it'd be the other one. In the last tank it was the back wheel. You watch now, this one will be the right pain in the bum. Oh, there goes that wheel wobbling around. Yeah. Stay on target. Stay on target. Why are you not locking in place? Little minx. There we go. Let's get some glue down there. It's being a little bit feisty. When I get the piece in after it, that should help. So I'll just loosely get that in. No, it's not on camera, sorry. Doesn't help that this wheel's a little bit wibbly wobbly either, which is not ideal. But this is the problem with the little D pegs that hold these idler and sprocket wheels in place. They're not ideal until you've got the track on, which is why Space Hamster found out you can't really build this without putting the track on. Because if I was to leave this for like a week and go and do all the painting, all I'd find is that when I then came back to put the track on, everything would have set so much that you'd forget it. If anything was out of line, you'd be absolutely screwed by that point. So yeah, not ideal. So then we've got that piece, and then we need the next piece is that one. Apologies if this is not on camera. I'm kind of having to do my best to keep everything lined up. Oops. Trying to put the glue brush in the wrong damn pot. That goes on there. Touch of extra thin. I will top this glue up later on, so I don't have to rattle it around quite so much. And the next one, which is that one. Kaplink, kapla. There we go. A little bit of that. Little bit of that. Little bit of that. There you go. Nice generous dot of glue. Super chat's just popped up. Let me just get this gluing done first. 1 second.
Pika pika.
Angus, I'll at $20. Night Fox, catch you later. Angus, thank you massively. Take care of yourself and good night, my friend. That's very generous of you. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. You are very, very kind, my friend. Have yourself a great night. Good night's sleep. Wake up refreshed and sparkly in the morning like a princess. Thank you very much, my friend. You're too kind. Right, last piece here. Slot it in there. A little bit squishy. Try and get some glue down the side. Oh, actually, you know what I can do? I can get some glue on there. There's a little piece on the side, a little bit on the side, a little bit on the side where it locks into. And get some glue on there as well. There we go. There we go. This track has gone a lot better than the one at the last Baneblade I did. But that's because the last Baneblade I did, Baneblade, not Baneblade, was the first one I did, so I didn't know what I was doing. This one, I know, and now I now at least know. I'll start that again. I can't even speak today. I now know at least 3 things about Baneblades now. Right, so that is that in place. That is them in place. Just make sure that looks about straight. That looks about straight to me. That wheel is still a bit loose. Still got plate to it, but once the tracks and everything else is glued in properly, everything else is settled, that should be permanently locked into place there. That'll be stiff as a butcher's dog. I don't know what that means. Done. There we go. Just make sure it's nice and straight. There we go. Perfect. There, and that is done. So that is not fully completed because we've not put the armour on it yet. But eventually we'll have that bit on the top there, which still fits like a glove. One of the beauties of this tank is if you, like Colin's doing his Orc Insane Blade and Ted lit his up, because that fits so beautifully, you don't have to glue that in place. So if you were doing lighting on your Baneblade and you want to put the headlights in, you could put loads of wiring and batteries and things in here and just have that as a removable panel. But I shall leave that on there to keep it in place. That is now looking nice and flat, I think. Oh yes, oh yes. Looking nice and level and flat. Doesn't come out too shabby. So the mould lines, you're not going to see those mould line on the track there once it's got dirt and mud on it. Yeah. So yeah, we've got all the armour to put on and the fuel tanks and everything else, but I think we'll leave it there for now. I'm not going to do those just yet. What time are we on? 36. Yeah, we'll leave it there. So I built that much anyway. Now, like I said, I don't know if we're doing a midnight stream tonight on Colin's channel on Festa 67's workshop. If Dad's broadband sorted out, then we will. I'll carry on. If not, then I will obviously most likely see you on Sunday for Warhammer Sunday. But I might see you before then if I can, because I'll need to continue working on this. So if I can do a stream tomorrow, then I'll see if I can run something through, because I'll just carry on with this. If I don't do a midnight stream tonight, I'll crack on with it. I might just crack on with it after dinner tonight anyway. So we shall see how it goes. Look at that. That's lovely, that is. I do like them tracks. Only Warhammer tracks would have a skull on them. Yes. But that went much better than my first Baneblade, so I'm happy now. I'm happy. But I think that's caught up. Yeah, it's 3:21 AM, Angus says. Good God. I'll catch the rest on replay. Good night. Don't worry, you're only going to miss about 5 minutes. So I think we're up to date. So that's going to do us, I think, for this evening. Don't forget, of course, thank you everyone for watching. Don't forget, of course, if you'd like to help keep this channel alive, I do this for my living, so I can take all the help I can get to keep this channel going. It means I can stay at home all day and look after Mama Fox whilst also earning a living. So if you'd like to help keeping that happen and help keep this channel alive, please do consider becoming a patron or a channel member. You can either go to patreon.com/modelmakingguru, a link in the description below the video, or to become a patron, or you can become a channel member by pressing the join button underneath any one of my videos. Either way, you literally pay my wages, you're keeping this channel alive, you're putting food on my table quite literally, and you're paying my bills for me. So I cannot thank my patrons and channel members enough. Thank you so much, but do consider becoming one. Don't forget, of course, to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you make sure you don't miss out on any future live streams. Check out, of course, the links from my supporters, goblingaming.co.uk and emodels.co.uk. Links in the description below the video. Use those links. It tells them I sent you, and I get some income from those. Don't just go to the websites directly. But other than that, I shall hopefully maybe see you tonight at midnight, 11:55 on Colin's channel. If not, I'll see you either tomorrow or on Sunday. Hopefully, fingers crossed, all being well here at this end domestically. But until then, take care of yourselves. I'm not sure if there's anything on tonight before the usual Festa midnight stream. I lose track of who streams what on a Friday. There's probably something going on somewhere. But until then, I shall say take care of yourselves. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you to all of you who've done super chats. I really appreciate it. I shall see you soon. I need to go for a wee. I'm dying for a wee. Take care of yourselves. Go make something awesome. Go be awesome. And until next time, adios amebis. Where's my button? I've got...